Once a Blue 3 member, now a solo artist, Cinderella Sanyu is in her late 20s and was born and raised in Bale district in eastern Uganda to the late Mr. Muyonjo and Mrs. Angela Muyonjo on the 28th of August 1985. She has 4 sisters and 2 brothers. She started singing when she was 6 in church and in school. She, however, first came into the limelight in 2000 at the age of 15 after the Coca-Cola Popstar events where, together with Jackie and Lillian, they were given long-time music contracts. For a period of roughly 7 years, Cindy was part of the Blue 3, and during this time, the group achieved a lot, including Palm Awards, Kisima nominations and MTV nominations.
Alone, we tell everything I'm in. What we got is something we should live to tell. Baby, take my hand, let me through the trench. Meant for us to trip. So let me make a sweet,
Cinderella Sanyu, a Ugandan R&B dancehall singer and songwriter, is usually referred to as Cindy, which is her stage name. Her debut solo album, Ayocha Yocha, is still topping charts all over East Africa, with hits like Mbikoye and Nawewe, One and Only, Total Satisfaction, and now Party.
Hey, you give me total satisfaction. You give me total satisfaction.
Cindy has won 3 national awards for her solo work and other 3 awards as a member of Blue 3.
This is NTV. This is NTV.
Kyekyo ddala NTV Akawungeezi ekyaterega munnange yafuukira ddala engombe ekwata omwami anti era bulijjo ekwata n'omuganzi. Agaleero biba binyeebwa tusola. Bweba ndingidi ndi ku lutamba ntakula. Katusooke tufune emitwe emikulu.
Ekisolo emu ku bbaasi ezibadde zisengula abakonga babundabunda egudde. Omwana afiiriddewo, 7 balumiziddwa. Gavumenti esabye eyambibwe ku bakonga ababundabunda abeeyongedde.
Tuleme kwerimba, abaana tebasoma.
Abasomesa balangiridde olunaku olw'okwediima olw'ebyenjigiriza ebissa omutindo. Mu mizannyo, Nasa Mutebi yaweza okufaafagana n'abagwira mu mmotoka z'empaka eziyinda.
NTV Akawungeezi, nze Frank Alisimbi. Omwana omwafiiriddewo abantu abalala 7 ne balumizibwa bya nsuso bbaasi ebadde esaabaza abakonga ababundabunda okuva ekisolo bwegudde. Abantu bano bbaasi ebadde batwala lwa Mwanja eka Mwenge era abadde agigoba emulemye okuweta ekkoona bwetyo neegwa. Ababundabunda 1581 be baakasengulwa. Yo mu kibuga Goma embeera ya bwerinde nga gavumenti ya Congo kigambibwa yongedde okuyiwayo amagye gagoomika abalwanyi abawombye ebimu ku bibuga mu buvanjuba bwa Congo.
Ababundabunda 9 bava e Congo enkya leero bajiddwa ekisulo okutwalibwa mu nkambi y'abanoonyi obubudamu erwa Mwanja ekisangibwa mu disitulikiti y'e Kamwenge. Wabula abamu tebatuuse. Omwana omwafiidde mu kkoona lino erisangibwemuko kilomita 3 okuva ekisolo bbaasi bwegudde. Omwana ono anyigiddwa bbaasi omutwe era kitutte essaawa nga 5 nga bbaasi tennamugibwako. Abantu abalala 7 balumiziddwa era nga baddusiddwa mu ddwaliro ekisolo. kabadde kaseera kazibu eri abantu bano abadde balowooza nti oba oli awo bagenda kutwalibwa mu kifo ekinakyusa ku mbeera gye balimu.
Kunani gutyo twari turi kuza abo tugeze hariya hepfo hageze nta irari heza ahubwo cyane nuko imodoka ibirahirimye nka kuno.
Ekivudde kakabenje kano poliisi kyakinoonyerezaako naye nga kiteeberezebwa tikyandiba nga kivudde kuvuga ndiima. Bw'abasoma tusa akabenje kano bongeddwayo mu nkambi y'e Rwamwanja. Olwaleero abundabunda bano enkoko bagikutte mumwa wakati mu mpewo ne
And also relieve some of the resources such as food items, shelter, that will be more manageable situation.
Gwagava mu ddwaniro gategeeza nti embeera mu kibuga Goma yabwe Kongo epakira y'abasirikale baayo okwerinda abayekera abayinza okulumba ekitundu kino essaawa yonna.
NTV Akawungeezi gavumenti yakuneesabye ebitongole by'ensi yonna bijambeko okudimuli okubudaabuda abantu abongera okuyingira mu Uganda nga beetegula vaawo mpitewo ali e Congo. Abakongo abasoba mu 1,600 bamaze dda okuyingira Uganda naye nga ebyetaagisa okubudaabuda abantu bano byakuwamanta buwamansi. Abakulu mu gavumenti bagamba embeera etuuse n'esukka bususi.
The presence of the thousands of refugees in our country, particularly in the last few days, is putting a lot of pressure on our facilities. Pressure on the facilities that are supposed to render health services to Ugandans. It is putting pressure on even the nutrition of the communities that are now like frontline districts. We need shelter, we need tents, we need blankets.
Olw'omuwendo gw'abantu bano okusukkirira, enkambi y'e Nyakabande kati efuuliddwa ekifo abantu bano we batuukira, nga kati gavumenti bano bonna egenda kubatwala e Rwamwanja ekisangibwa mu disitulikiti y'e Kamwenge. Minisita Echweru era akubiriza Ministry y'ebyobulamu naye okusitukiramu nti kubanga endwadde nnyingi zoolekedde okulumba bannayuganda b'omu bitundu by'ekisoro olw'abakongo abayingira nga tekimanyiddwa oba bageme.
There is certainly a risk of communicable infections being imported into the country.
Ebyo nga bikyali awo ate waliwo ababaka ba Parliament abatandise okuteeka gavumenti ku nninga nga baagala President yaveeyo mbu akakase eggwanga nti terigenda kukosebwa mbeera eno naddala mu byenfuna ko ne mu byokwerinda.
Kati twagala kumanya ati Uganda position zaffe mu lutalo ziri eri mu Congo ziri bitya. Atwagala President anyonyole bulungi nnyo.
Era nga Saabalwanyi nga bw'atera okutugamba agezeeko okukozesa erinnya lye n'obusobozi bwe okulaba nti embeera y'e DRC edda mu nteeko, abasuubuzi baffe bafune emirembe, naffe obusimbi bwaffe obwandigenze nti wabulabirira abawaŋŋanguse budde okukola emirimu emirala gye twandibadde tukola.
Twafunako embeera Uganda yalumbako Congo era Uganda ejja kusasula Uganda n'abaana n'abazzukulu. Tetwagala kudda mu mbeera n'olwekyo gavumenti erina okuvaayo ekikole ku nsonga eno tukisalira amagezi.
Okulwanagana wakati w'amagye ga Congo n'abayekera ba M23 kukyagenda mu maaso nga mu kiseera kino abayekera baliko ebibuga bina biramba bye bawambye okuva ku gavumenti ya Congo.
Weewaawo mu bufu kumpi bwe bumu obwo kkooti y'ensi yonna esindise Omukongo Thomas Lubanga mu kkomera amalayo emyaka 14. Wakati wa 2022 ne 2023 Lubanga yakuliranga ekibinja ky'abayekera ekyakozesa abaana abato okulwana. Kino kye kibonerezo kkooti y'ensi yonna kyesose okuwa omuntu gwesingisiza omusango. Lubanga ogumusinze gwa kuwamba abaana abato abali mu myaka 10 oba 11 n'abawemmundu ne bakola ebikolobero ku Bannakongo. Abantu abalala babiri abakolagananga ne Lubanga nabo balinze kuvunaanibwa. Ebya Lubanga gye bigweredde nga ne Bosco Ntaganda n'ekibinja kye M23 bali mu buvanjuba bwa Congo babunya abayo emiwabo. Ntaganda ono naye ne banne 13 bwe bakulira mu 23 kooti y'ensi yonna ebeetaaga. Mu birala abakulu mu bibiina by'obwannakyewa n'ebyo ebitaba enzikiriza beegasse ku basomesa okuvumirira omutindo gw'ebyensoma gwe bagamba nti guddiridde ekisusse. Abakulu bano batubulidde nga bwe bawagira abasomesa ku ky'okwediima okugenda okutandika wiiki ejja. Abasomesa bagamba nti tebagenda kwediima mu bubi naye baagala kujjukiza bekikwatako nti waliwo ekitagenda bulungi. Mu wiiki eno baakukwasa sipiika wa paalamenti ekiwandiiko mwe bagenda okusinziira okwemulugunya mu butongole.
Kigambibwa nti essomero lino erya Kawempe Muslim Primary School lyerimu kwago agaali ng'ag'amaanyi mu buli kimu emyaka egy'emabega. Wabula kati bagamba nti teryakoma kugwa mu byakusomesa byokka wabula ne mu mbeera endala gamba ng'abaana okutuula ku ttaka nga basoma era nga y'ensonga lwaki olukiiko luno balutadde mulimu ku masomero ag'ekika kino. Ensonga abasomesa bano ne bannaddiini ssaako ab'ebibiina eby'obwannakyewa ebikola ku kusoma n'obulungi bw'abaana bagamba evudde ku gavumenti okusuulayo ogwannaggamba mu bintu ebikwatagana n'ebyenjigiriza.
Okunoonyereza kukoleddwa kiraze nti abayizi abali mu masomero gonna kuva mu primary okutuukira mu university ensoma si nnungi, ebintu bigootaanye. Omwana omuwa ekibuuzo kya P2 naye ng'ali mu P6 nekimulemu okuddamu eyo lipoota weeri owulidde. Omwana omuwa ekibuuzo ng'ali mu siniya yakubiri n'omuwa ekibuuzo kya siniya esooka nekimulemu okutta.
Bwe batyo basazeewo nti ng'ennaku z'omwezi 16-17 omwezi guno baakutwala ensonga zino mu paliyamenti. Baakwogera ne ku musaala gwabwe okuba omutono, amasomero obutazimbibwa n'okuddaabirizibwa ssaako omuwendo gw'abasomesa okuba omutono. Baagala ensonga zino zitunulwemu ng'embalirira y'omwaka 2012-2013 tennakakasibwa.
Si kwekalakaasa wabula kutwala kiwandiiko ky'abasomesa eri omukubiriza w'olukiiko lw'eggwanga.
Bwe banaamala olwo balyoke bateekeyo okusaba kw'eggwanga nga basabira okusoma kw'abaana baabwe. Irene Namyalo, NTV Akawungeezi.
NTV Akawungeezi. Lord Mayor wa Kampala Elias Lukwago atubulidde nti agenda kujulira ku nsala ya kooti enkulu eyagobye omusango gwe yawaabira Nankulu wa Kampala Jennifer Musisinga. Agamba nti omukyalo ono yeeteeka nnyo mu butaala n'atuuka n'okweza emirimu mu KCCA gyonna. Lukwago ono yalagiddwa n'okuliwa mu sente z'akozesezza mu musango guno. Tutegedde nti Lukwago ajja kuyita olukiiko lwa KCCA ekiseera kyonna.
Tusome etteeka ffe ffennyini. Ekirungi nze ntuula mu ntebe. Era ekyo nkyeyanzizza nti weebala omulamuzi kye wampadde nga nze Lord Mayor. Okuŋŋa nti kati ntuule mu ntebe y'obulamuzi nsome etteeka ligamba ki tusalewo. Era ekyo sironzezza na kulonza. Olukiiko nduyise ng'ennaku z'omwezi 16 ku kitebe kya KCCA wano ku ssaawa 4 zennyini nsome etteeka ng'omulamuzi bw'aŋŋambye ndyanjulire abakiise tusalewo eggoye. Kyesigenda kuleka kyekyo okugamba nti ate omuntu eyasambirira amateeka nti ate nnyina okumuliyirira. Ekyo nalagidde eddabalooya bange bakitwale ku apiiru.
Elias Lukwago, Lord Mayor wa Kampala. Minisita amyuka ow'ebigwa tebiraze Musa Echero agambye nti batandise okuyeeyiza abantu ababundabunda mu disitulikiti y'e Buduuda. Ababadde babeera wakati mu bulabe obw'okuyigulukuka kw'ettaka batwaliddwa wansi w'olusozi awatali nnyo wa bulabe. Gavumenti esuubiza okubakolera ku byetaago ebiwerako. Bo abagenzi abafa juuza ettaka lyayigulukuka kikakasiddwa nti bali 8. Abalala 4 okuli n'omwana w'emyaka 6 tebannaba kuzuulibwa. Abantu nga emitwalo 40 bakusengula okuva mu district 7 batwalibwa mu bitundu by'e Bugeso oba ebitundu ebirala babafunireyo ettaka.
Kasooka ttaka libumbulukuka mu ggombolola ya Bulucheke e Buduuda omwezi gw'omukaaga nga guggwako emirambo 4 gye gyakazuulibwa.
The survivor is a husband who has indicated that his wife and 3 kids are still missing. That will bring the total number of those who now have zeroed on as dead to 8.
Abantu abasimatuka okuyiikirwa ettaka gavumenti etegeezezza nga bwe bajje mu nsozi ne batwala mu kikko eri abantu abalala.
We are feeding both the hosts and the displaced. We were very careful not to open a camp because of the number of risks.
District musanvu nga buli emu erimu abantu 5,000 abali okumpi n'enjatika ku lusozi lwa Mount Elgon be balina okusooka okufiibwako. Awamu abantu kumpi 4,000 be balina okusengulwa era nga gavumenti eteeseewo amakubo ga mirundi 3 omugendo okuyitibwa okutuukiriza kino.
Developing the trading centers within Mount Elgon and settling them there, and buying land within the Elgon region, the proximity of the Elgon region, and settling them there. And the third option, which we will really consider if we fail in the first option to exhaust the whole number, is when we will take them very far from home.
Era bajja kusooka bateeka mu weema nga bwe babayiyiriza aw'okusula aw'enkalakkalira n'abantu abaatwalibwa e Kirya Ndungu nabo bakuganyulwamu mu nteekateeka eno. Florence Nalimba, NTV Akawungeezi.
Wamalidde oyo nga kumpi ziri 12 ezimaze okuyita ku ssaawa y'emu. Tukomawo n'ekitundu ekyokubiri tovaawo.
Katembe Mukono, omusawo w'ekinnansi omulaguzi yeezobye n'agambibwa okubeera omulogo. Okulwanyisa obutujju, poliisi eyogedde awali emiwaatwa.
In the same category at the Kirya Awards, Navio headlined his first American tour where he performed at the Uganda North American Association in Washington as well as to large crowds in Boston. In 2010, Navio's career kicked into high gear following the release of Hands Across the World, his brand new track that features international superstar R. Kelly plus 7 of other super refined African artists who include Two-Face from Nigeria, Ali Kiba from Tanzania, Amani from Kenya, Fally Ipupa from the DRC, and 4x4 from Ghana, JK from Zambia, and Movai Solene from Gabon. R. Kelly produced the track at the world-famous Chicago studios in collaboration by the members of 1-8 due to his powerful force in R&B worldwide, in addition to his global fame that picked numerous awards for Navio.
You cannot deny it. Let's go, people.
With all these feathers in his cup, it is clear that Navio's talent is indisputable, and the star continues to rise up and up to hip-hop legendary status.
You don't need a weapon. All I can promise is sandy beaches, no shutterbugs, no to tuttering. When I go and cut a rug, you're a big girl. Last thing you need is
Sally, also known as Bebe Cool, Munene Munene Big Size, the Bogolako superstar, also popularly known as East Africa's Mr. Showbiz, is a reggae musician who was born on 1st September 1977 to a popular politician, Jabeli Bidandi Sali.
Big size, extra large. Can music? Uganda,
he started his music career in the mid-90s while at Chitante High School, where he was an entertainment prefect, together with Rudeboy Devo and Luther T. Like many other Ugandan musicians, Bebe Cool went to Nairobi, Kenya in 1997, where he started to make his name as a prolific musician, together with Red Sun and Chameleon.
I'm on a handle, no matter what kind of trouble. I'm on a handle, real man should handle.
Bebe Cool was one of the first artists affiliated with Ogopa DJs, a production house and record label in Kenya, but a few years later he moved back to Uganda. Bebe Bebe Cool, who sings in Luganda, English and Swahili, has done a number of songs with multiples of collaborations with artists like Bobby Wine, Kid Fox aka King Steven, Irene Namubiru, Tik Tar and many other artists.
Some why we not stop call them capelle.
Bebe Cool teamed up with Kenyan music duo Necessary Noise, Peter Miles and Mesha to form a reggae group known as the East African Bashment Crew. They released a number of songs like Kube, Fire Anthem, a hit that saw Bebe Cool to the Palm Award Artist of the Year nominations of 2006, and Africa Unite. The group was nominated at the inaugural 2008 MTV Africa Music Awards.
Excuse me. Number one, me a bad man making me surround them.
Enda maaso abatuuze b'Eseeta Namugongo basibye batawuka n'okunyumya emboozi ezikwata ku ddogo ng'eno abasamize bwe bakwata ebyokoola ebigambibwa nti bibadde bivaako abantu okufa. Abasawo bakoze katemba nga bakwata bye bayita amayembe nga bw'ogenda okulaba.
Babaddewo katemba atali musasulire Eseeta Namuganga mu disitulikiti y'e Mukono ng'abasawo ba Kinansi babadde bakwata ebyokoola. Kigambibwa nti bino ebyokoola byaleetebwa Badiru gy'agenda oluvannyuma ne bimulemerera ne bitandika okutigomya ekyalo. Muganda wategerekeseeko nga Kiviiri Joseph era kigambibwa mbu byakamutaka abantu be bataano. Abaana kati ayagala kuwolera era ayagala gy'agenda ssaawa zino. Bano babadde bakola ogwabwe ngayo poliisi eri mu gwa kutangira abantu ababadde bataamye obugo nga baagala okumanya amayembe ge babadde banoonya. Abasamize obwedda bakozesa obukodyo omubadde okusala enkoko n'embuzi mbu bakwata byokoola bino. Yagambibwa okuleeta amayembe gano Badiru gy'agenda olwalabye embeera ekaaye n'amalamu omusubi.
Tulina ebintu bye tuleeta nga tubijja mu basawo. Naye ekintu ekyo bw'omala okukireeta oluusi tomanya kikuwadde afaanana atya kuba naawe ogendayo obugenzi lwa kizibu.
Basimye ne basanga akasuwa bo ke bagambye nti ke kaateekebwamu amayembe agabadde gatigomya abatuuze. Oluvannyuma bakumya omuliro ne babisaanyaawo.
Okusinziira nga bwendabye musajja talina firimu yonna gy'akoze agiye ekintu ng'ensi yonna eraba.
Wabula olw'akacyankalano k'abatuuze poliisi esazeewo okuyimiriza emikolo gino olw'okutya embeera eyinza okuddirira.
Nze nakakasiza bakama bange ndi security ndi mu ttaano era njirina.
Ekyalo bakiyita Seeta Namuganga so si Seeta Namugongo naye Seeta Namuganga. Mu mawulire amalala beesimbyewo okuvuganya ku kifo ky'omubaka wa Bukoto South mu Parliament buli omu agamba nti agenda okulya empanga okulonda kwa Lwakuna okwosa enkya. Omusasi waffe yagombye edda mu kitundu ekyo okulaba ebintu nga bwe bitambula.
Ekitundu kino ekya Bukoto South kirimu abalonzi abasoba mu mitwalo 3 ng'amagombolola gali abiri omuli erya Kingo n'erya Kiseka. ebifo ebirondebwamu biri 66 ng'embiranye eri wakati wa Alintuma Nsambo wa NRM ne Mathias Mpugo wa DP. Ye Alintuma Nsambo takubye lukungaana lusembayo ng'asazeewo okukola kakuyege wanju ku nju.
Wange omulabe waffe ekikyalinza okuwulira naye kaŋŋambe nti nkozesa omukisa guno okusinkana bakakuyege bange abantu abagezezaako okunyamba mu kalulu kano.
Nsambo era ategeezezza ng'aba DP bwe bamukonjera ebigambo okumulemesa ensi nti yavuma kabaka.
DP yali luddawa nga NRM ekomyawo Obwakabaka byebibuuzo ebibuuzibwa. So kakati bo kabakole omulimu ogw'okwawulayawula mu bantu Ssaabasajja bamuyingize mu bya politics naye ffe aba NRM tugamba nti kabaka waffe era tumwagala. Bino ebirala ebyogerwa ffe batuleke eno tutunke entalo zaffe.
Yo wa DP Nsubuga agambye nti obuwanguzi yabufunye dda nga kati asigaza kimu kya kuuma kalulu.
Nsuubira okuwangulira ku 75% kambalekeyo 25%.
Ate FDC Centamu agambye nti amaanyi agalina kubanga muvubuka Njasa Biggu.
Nti abalonzi bo bamanyi bwe tugamba enkyukakyuka nabo balina okubeera part kitundu kya nkyukakyuka.
Ebyokwerinda binywevu okulaba ng'okulonda kuno kubaawo mu mirembe. Olwaleero lwe lunaku olusembayo nga buli omu afuba okulaba ng'amatiza abalonzi mu kakuyege w'olwaleero bamulonde agenda abakiikirira emyaka gineena egisigaddeyo. Dini Lubowa Sava, NTV Akawungeezi.
NTV Akawungeezi. Enkya tujja kujjukira nga bwe giweze emyaka 2 bukya batuju ba Al-Shabaab bakola obutuju ku Bannayuganda ne bamala batta abantu abasoba mu 7. Bannayuganda bangi tebakyateekayo mwoyo ku nsonga y'obutuju kyokka poliisi eyongedde okulabula. Ab'ebyokwerinda bagamba nti balina bye bayize bingi mu myaka 2 egiyise.
Nga bomu kyezikuba abantu abasukka mu 7 erugogo wamu ne Ethiopian village ekabalagala ebyokwerinda mu Kampala byanyuzibwa okwewala ekyalo kiguddewo okuddamu. Ebifo nga paaka za takisi tewali muntu yenna akkirizibwa kuyingira nga tayaziddwa so nga ne ku bizimbe ebitali bimu bwe gwali. Kyokka oluvannyuma lw'ebbanga kati lya myaka 2 embeera eno oyinza obutakkiriza nti yali ebaddewo. Kino kyoleka lwatu mu bitundu ebitali bimu mu kibuga Kampala naddala mu bifo ebyolukale ebisinga okweyunirwa ennyo abantu.
Gavumenti kale erina okuteekamu kale naddala kati ku bintu nga ddala mubala kati gy'abantu basinga okujjula ennyo amabale kati olere nga basobola okuteekawo obukuumi ennyo obw'amaanyi.
Omuntu omu ajja n'ayingira n'akeberebwa n'ate omulala n'atekerebebwa. Kwegamba ekyo kiraga nti ebyokwerinda bya ggwanga si binywevu ddala n'akatono.
Muve mu lubalaato obutuju weebuli tulina okubulwanyisa nga tukwataganira wamu.
Kyokka newankubadde nga guli gutyo waliwo ebifo ebituta ensonga ey'okwekumanga ekikulu ennyo era nga ne gye buli n'ebyokwerinda byawo bikyali ggulugulu.
Kale ne tulowooza nti tukoze kinene naye tukyalina okukola ekisingawo kubanga buli lukya nabo bajja n'ekipya.
Wano ku kisaawe kya Rugby Club emu ku bifo ebyakuba bbunga bwe bagamba nti sekawuka kaali kakulumye abatwala ekifo kino batutegeezeza nti ebyokwerinda bakitwala ng'ekikulu.
Tuliko gates 4 naye ku ezo gate 4 tulina gate emu buli omu waba alina okuyita. Olina wabaze n'emmotoka afuna wa parking and parking yard n'akomawo n'ayitamu eyo gate aba alina okukeberebwa. Kabaani kobe mukulu ng'olina amayinja go bakkebera.
Abatujju ensangi zino bakyusizza enkola nga kati balumba ebifo eby'amasinzizo nga bwe guze gulabika ku mulirwano e Kenya abantu abawerako gye bafiiriddeko okulumizibwa. Kino kitegeeza nti abatujju ensangi zino beeyunira nnyo ebifo ebyokwerinda webiri ebinafu nga muno mwe muli obutale, amakereziya, emizikitiko n'ebirala.
Kati tulina okuteeka amaanyi buli wonna sigamba nti bavudde wano bagenze wano kubanga ekyo si lutalo nti bakyusizza buwufu kuva wano bagenda wano.
Wabula mu bino byonna poliisi egamba nti erina kyeyizeemu k'okubaako weetuuse mu kulwanyisa obutujju mu ggwanga.
Naye kyavaamu ebyokuyiga bingi nti omulimu guno ogw'okulwanyisa obutujju tetulina kugubanga tugutwala nga ekintu ekitali kyamaanyi nnyo era ebiseera ebisinga tubadde tutegeeza abantu nti muve mu lubalaato.
Poliisi mu kiseera kino kyonna ebadde erabula abantu naddala balina ebizimbe mu Kampala ebyeyunira ennyo abantu okusawo obukuumi bumala era egamba nti eriko weetuuse newankubadde nga wakyaliwo okusoomoozebwa.
Naye abantu olumu beesulayo gannagamba ne batafaayo ne batamanya nti baba batujju. Buli bwe mutafaayo bawongera kulaba obunafu buliwa ne bongera okuteeka mu nkola ebyabwe.
Okusinziira ku b'ebyokwerinda wakati wa leero n'enkya abatujju bandiyagala okubaako bye bakola naddala mu Uganda era wana abantu bakubiriziddwa okubeera abeegendereza ennyo ng'obukuumi butandikira ku buli muntu. Julius Senkandwa, NTV.
NTV Akawungeezi tugenda kulaba akatale k'ensimbi nga bwe kabadde wano e Kampala olwaleero.
Akatale k'ensimbi kakutusi.
All vehicles are required to revalidate their registration.
This is NTV.
Ebyo nabyo bitegerekese bulungi. Tugenda kumulamu tukomawo n'amawulire agakwata ku by'emizannyo girobera naffe.
Isaiah's prayer is to see lives changed through his inspirational story, his music, and God's grace. He has a passion to see young lives changed through his story and music. Isaiah is dedicated to inspiring untapped talent and potential in young East Africans, regardless of what field they choose. As a young boy, Isaiah taught himself how to play the saxophone and used his skill to see himself through school. This gave him the opportunity to meet and work with several leading artists in Uganda, musicians and producers who represent a wide range of genres. Isaiah is
mu by'emizannyo abagwira babiri olwaleero batuuse kuno batere beetabe mu mpaka za Shell Pearl of Africa Rally ezitandika ku Lwokutaano olwa wiiki eno yennyini. Abavuzi abaakuno nabo beesunga mpaka zino era balowooza nti bajja kutuuka ku buwanguzi nga omuntu waffe bw'agenda okunnyonnyola.
Empaka zino eziggyibwako akawuwo ku Lwokutaano lwa ssabbiiti eno n'empaka ez'akafubutuko mu Lubiri e Mengo. Omuvuzi Nassa Mutebi agamba nti gwe mukisa gw'alina okwewangulira ku mpaka za Pearl of Africa Rally ziyakeetabamu enfunda 3 nga taziwangula.
Nange njagala kuwangula ku mpaka zino mbeere nga defending champion Ponsiano Lwakataka atwewanirako olutacha nti mwali muwangudde ku za Pearl. Kyenduka ennyo era kyenduubiye era nja kukikola abawagizi bange bonna banaaba bazze nga nja kutandikira mu Lubiri e Mengo. Nja kulaba nti nvuga flat out okukyukako n'engeri gye tubadde tuvuga bulijjo.
Mutebi yakatuuse emmotoka ey'ekika kya Subaru Impreza N10 wakutunkana abavuzi abalala 20 okuli n'abagwira 3. Wabula wadde ng'ensiitaano mu mpaka zino esuubira okubeera wakati wa nnantamegwa waazo Ponsiano Lwakataka, Duncan Mubiru n'abagwira 3. Ye Nassa Mutebi agamba nti bonna waakubakuba enfuufu.
Defending champion Ponsiano Lwakataka naye yasazeewo akomewo. Ekyo tekyatutiisiza kyatuwadde mukisa kulaba nti naffe tumukuba ng'akyali mulamu tumulage nti alina okuva ku nte akaddiye ne oba oliawo Duncan Mubiru akulembedde engule ya Uganda twagala kumulaga nti ekiseera tekinnaba ekyokuwangula alina okutuyanira engule eno.
Abalala abasuubirwa okussa abalabi ku bunkenke kuliko John Costa akulembedde empaka z'abatandika ne Susan Muwonge akyalina engule y'omwaka. Sam Mpoza, NTV Akawungeezi.
Mu by'emizannyo ebirala ttiimu z'abavubuka okuva mu bitundu 4 ebya Uganda zakukungaanira enjeru ku ttendekero lya FUFA ery'omupiira okwetaba mu mpaka za Airtel Rising Stars ez'akamalirizo. Ttiimu zino zaalondebwa mu mpaka z'ebitundu ezaakomekerezebwa mu wiiki ewedde.
Twalaba nti tutunda airtime naye okugenda eri mu grassroots tusobola kukola ki okulaba nti abantu abo bakulakulanye baze ku standards eziri international ng'abalala bonna ne tugamba nti kakati katubayambe tutwaleyo nga soccer games eziyamba abaana abawala n'abalenzi abali under 17 okuzanya omupiira ate ne bavaayo ne bafuna ne platform enabatwala ku international standards ne bakuba kapiira kubanga talent weeri talent eno weeri abaana bakubye akapiira tubalabye ate ne ba scouts bawandiise ne bagamba nti abaana balina talent kati tukitwale ku level endala.
Airtel Rising Stars, one of Africa's greatest football tournaments, has returned. If you're out there,
this is NTV.
Ebyemizannyo nabyo bwe bityo we bigenze. Wane Kampala we tusinzira okuweereza olunaku olwaleero enkuba etonye mu biseera we byamala gy'ekyemisana mu Kampala wakati n'ebitundu ebiwerako ebiriraanye Kampala. Batuwulidde nti mambuka g'eggwanga waliwo ebitundu ebiwezeeko awo ebifunye ku nkuba kyo ekimu ne Maserengeta. Naye twagala tulabe olunaku olw'enkya nga bwe lugenda okubeera. Kyekyo NTV Akawungeezi erabika egenda kukoma wano nga bulijjo entebeza y'obudde yefundikira ebigambo ebule dakika 27 okwera essaawa 2 banywanyi batandise okunkuba eriiso likaneme kulemera wano musule bulungi.
This is NTV. This is NTV. This is NTV. NTV.
Hello and welcome to Login. I am your girl Robin Kisty. We have a brand new week of fresh parties, so keep it locked here on NTV and we will definitely let you in. This week it was the one and only Kim Swagger showcasing his new swag onto the mainstream, and it was at Club Rouge. It was a good fashion show, so check this out. Kim Swagger, a fashion up the value stages. Chameleon is a young talented designer whose skills have been more for the young adult male corporates. He has piqued interest in designing for ladies too now.
Ladies always complain, you know why you're not showcasing anything about us? Are you one standard designer for male? No. Listen, I have something for you in stock. And this is the day that I showed them that I have something for them in stock. And ladies and gentlemen, I made it, and you know what? My outfits are outstanding.
At Club Rouge last Friday, Kim showcased two spectacular designs that kicked off his journey into the women's world of fashion. The showcase was done in style and a good idea as it sparked up everyone's attention and excitement.
Now, this year has been a year for Californication. That's why my fashion party was dress code Californication. Like you see, have a yellow, have a hot pink, have a gray, have a green. Just mix the colors in any way you want and you make the fashion trend fashionable. Mix the colors, don't mind about what you're putting on.
It was really crazy. Kim also shared his inspirations for the women fashion and what he thinks women like most, at the same time breaking his good news to Login.
I'm a stylist who they consulted with other stylists all over Africa to style Big Brother as a whole, not the Big Brother housemaids for Uganda or Nigeria. So we recommend style and they put them on. That's what I'm doing.
And in the world of Celebrityville is where we get our hearsay. All right, we want to get to know what our celebrities are up to. So check out our hearsay for this week and you will know everything about the celebrities. It was joy and merrymaking at the Red Bull Arena in Salzburg last night as Ibrahim Sekaja, together with his teammates, steered their club Red Bull Salzburg to their 100 Bundesliga title, as it was the club's 7th title as they seek a historic double this season. The new champions were declared champions after a 2-0 win, Admira handing them the converted golden plate with the game in hand. Rekaje, who has played an integral part to his club's campaign, dedicated his feat to his late mother, who he lost last year. This Sunday, Salzburg will play Reed in the OFB Samsung Cup in their final season game. By now, you may have heard that Desire Luzinda was attacked by unknown people on the northern bypass at Chevando roundabout while driving back to her home. Desire says a lady that looked desperate for help waved her down, and when she pulled over, immediately other people came from nowhere and beat her up and left her unconscious. Desire had been discharged from St. Francis Hospital on Friday, but according to the news tabloid, it is reported that she was instead flown to Nairobi for further treatment. Apparently, some people think that Desire's attack might be a publicity stunt to give her new song Nyongera Dozi some attention as she's about to launch it. Well, here at Login, we only wish you a quick recovery. The Sauti Soul boys are just reveling in amazing opportunities. After playing at the South by Southwest Festival in the US for 2 years in a row now, their band will be performing alongside America's Wonder Girl, Janelle Monáe, at this year's Europe Colors of Ostrava Festival in the Czech Republic. Sauti Soul said that meeting her will be a huge honor for the group. Congratulations, boys, and keep the good news coming. Lil Weezy doesn't want anyone photographing him while he's perfecting his skateboarding skills. For the second time this month, Lil Wayne and his crew are under investigation for the assault after a young man claimed Weezy and his crew targeted him, hitting him at the back of the head with a skateboard after he attempted to take a photo of the rapper. According to Global Grind, Alfredo Marino said that he spotted Lil Wayne and his posse skateboarding, and because he's a huge fan of the Waynes, he went up to Weezy to ask for a photo, but he was shut down. He also claims that he was clocked from behind with a skateboard, which knocked him and left him bleeding from the head. In April, a photographer in Miami filed a police report and claimed that he was attacked by Lil Wayne's crew for the same offense. We're going to take a quick break, but do not go anywhere because we will be right back. Welcome back from that quick break. Anyways, back to the parties. This week we had a regular that we always put on the show, and it is the Kwela band. They had another conjunction, and as always, it was fabulous voices, fabulous instruments, and a fabulous crowd. So check it out. Kwela, a well-known group of vocalists, guitarists, drummers, and all sorts of talents, is a live band group that has established its mark on the music scene, mainly as a corporate brand.
This is a thing that we do every Friday. Kwela is at M. Pasha Hotel. We always prepare a set list of songs. We do some of them, rehearse. Some of them we just jam around and see what comes out. And it's fun.
Their weekly show and audience at Emin Pasha is just a better example of their music.
People start walking in, usually about 6:30 up to about 8 o'clock. People just walking in, milling around, meeting their friends, having a jolly good time. The music, dancing the week off, and it gets quite crazy sometimes.
Just showcasing talent and beautiful sound. As you know it, Kwela never disappoints. What a wonderful display of talent.
Telling him he has an idea, he's on stage and people screaming like
And here with me is the biggest baboon in the forest, GNL Zamba. What's up?
I'm all good. Guilty as charged, man. Guilty as charged.
You're the biggest baboon, eh?
Little monkey niggas turn gorillas. We are up on login right now, and we are acting gorillas.
Gorillas.
Yeah.
Ubira ba rasta, ubira ba gangsta, ubira selector, ubira ba hater, si ubira beef, nzenka ubira ba wagisi, ubira boda.
The name baboon forest always confuses people. As in, why baboon? Why the forest? The evolution theory teaches us, like Charles Darwin said. Okay, there's some things he explained, but then there was that missing link. You get me? I believe the missing link, since he says we came from monkeys, the missing link in Uganda's music industry, for us to be able to evolve fully and explain the whole evolution theory, baboon forest needs to be there. So baboon forest is the missing link, like right there. That explains baboon forest and why we're here.
Okay, and then GNL Zamba, the name.
GNL Zamba, the name. I love reading, and I like me a little kind of philosophy. You get me? It comes from the philosophy that I believe in. At the highest level of self-expression, you achieve greatness of no limit. So GNL is greatness of no limit. When you express yourself fully, expression. When I'm telling you about it, this is not just music. This is me expressing the things that I've gone through. So you're going to see the world through my eyes. It's like sitting down with me one-on-one right now, and then you're having a cup of tea with GNL, getting to know GNL. That's the effect you get when you're listening to a GNL album. You get me?
Tewebuza lwaki ntambula nanuka ku streets nga rubber bandi Kampala eringa filimu mbawunsinga nga badi emiziki njukuba okukira ebyuma bya bandi ensi yali ekaluba naye njigozeza nga blue bandi.
Alright, so how did you come up with the whole Luga flow? Because Luga flow, I mean, I feel like it's something that you guys have made your own.
Yeah.
You know? How? Okay.
The thing is that this is my philosophy. Like abantu ngabajja kumatira what hip hop is. Naye nga tebategera bye twogerako. Nga tuli nnyo ba Jay-Z, we're too much of Nas, you get me? And the stories we're telling were not ours. This is not criticizing anybody who raps in English or somebody who does whatever they do. But this is what I decided to do. I said, let me be the bridge between the Musee Ali Muchalo and the guy who is in town right now. Let me make Luganda cool, and let me also tell the stories that are Ugandan, and that's how the whole Luga flow thing came in. One of the people that I look forward in life, I look up to, you get me? I look at a gentleman called Russell Simmons, and I've read his work and I've seen his work. Def Jam, and he founded Def Jam and all those other things.
He's a big guy, yeah.
Very big guy, very big guy in the industry. The careers of LL Cool J and
they all depend on him.
They all depend on him. Run DMC. Right. We just wanted to create this kind of rap brand, the Luga Flow brand, yeah, that's sell Uganda to the international market, but representing Uganda. That's how the whole Luga Flow thing was born.
Is this a new song or new
is
movement?
I'm working on a new EP. It's called the Renaissance EP. First it was Koi speaking vernacular, so this is going to be the Renaissance album. The way we think and the way we've been singing our music, this is how I want to see GNL on a whole new level. So Uganda Yafu is one of the first singles, and right now everybody is on that Uganda Yafu.
Mr. Lyricist here, so how about you make some lyrics about this moment here?
About this moment here.
Freestyle.
On the Sahara. But when it's you and me, one-on-one, GNL Zamba, and a very beautiful girl like you, it's more like Solomon and Nefertiti. It's more like the pharaohs of Egypt, linking up with the people of the beautiful girls of Ethiopia. Chikankane, I make her smile as she stares in my eyes. There's chemistry right there. Freestyling a poem right now for you watching NTV right now. Log in, and this is one-on-one. The new single is called Bloody, and it's so funny because in Baboon Forest is what everybody is singing right now.
Log in is bloody.
The girl with the microphone, bloody.
Bloody.
When I'm putting on my red, it's bloody.
Bloody.
The chain, bloody. The shoes, bloody. The hips, bloody. The paws, bloody. The face, bloody. Login, bloody. NTV, bloody. Cameraman, bloody. GNL Zamba up on the microphone. Chivera too bloody.
We're going to take another quick Welcome back from the break, and moving on swiftly, we go into the summertime party. Last week there was the Bahamas party, which was the 4th edition, and it was definitely crazy because the ladies definitely dressed to impress, and the guys, they enjoyed the show. So take a look at this. The Bahamas Night Theme Party has been a successful one so far. This was the 4th edition, and it was just as well attended as the first one. Everything is Bahamas. I feel like I'm in the Bahamas. I mean, the look is definitely Bahamas. There's palm trees everywhere. Girls dressed like Bahamas. The melody in my head that I can't keep on, got me singing like na 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 every day. Girls dressed to impress, and the guys, well, let me say they enjoyed every bit of it. Yes, still here at the Bahamas Night, and I'm with one of the, I think, the most decent, nicely dressed girls around the party. What's your name, darling?
Emily is my name.
Emily, you're a model, right?
Yes, I am.
Sweetie, you look at this look. Becca, show them. She looks gorgeous. I love the pumps. I love the skirt. Everything is just so gorgeous. I think this is the look of the day for me. I have to say, it's the look of the day for me. Special pina colada cocktails welcomed all the guests who were dressed and ready for the summer. So our one-on-one, as usual, is definitely an exclusive, and it is with the one and only Shaka. He's a jazz musician. So check this out. One-on-one interview, and it is with a special jazz musician who goes by the names of Shaka. Shaka, how are you doing?
I'm fine, Ben. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, Shaka, I want you to tell me, I mean, here in Uganda, not many people associate with jazz music. You know, it's mainly in the corporate world. Now, I want you to help us explain exactly what jazz music is or what it's about.
Well, one of the most famous jazz legends, when he was asked that question, he said, if you have to ask, you don't have to know. You know, but I can't define jazz, because jazz is a way of life, but it's really music that deals a lot with improvisation. It is not static. It is it's where musicians express themselves. You know, Miles Davis said there are no mistakes in jazz. You know, whatever, if you thought you've made a mistake, you've done something that somebody else has not done. So jazz is a way of life, but we've also realized that a lot of people, not only in the corporate world, most of our jazz fans, like on Radio 1 Jazz Evenings, are really are not your corporate kind of people. You know, so it's a misconception. But it also comes because mainly jazz, you know, the events are in Serena, the tickets are high priced, you know, but that comes to do with critical mass. If you have fewer people, you have to charge more. But if you go to any wedding, whether it's uptown or downtown, you'll find they're playing jazz. If you go to people's homes on Sundays, they'll have some, you know, music playing. A lot of them are instrumentals, but some people have jazz and they know they have jazz. So it's just a matter of teaching people that what they have is jazz, and when we give them CDs, they realize, you know, I like this music. I like it in my car when I'm in a traffic jam, and so it's good music, you know, and we just need people to know more about it.
Okay. And you know how you've said jazz is a way of life, and I mean, there's a lot of music that is kind of similar to a way of life, you know, like, you know, according to the lyrics, what they say in the lyrics, part of life. So what makes jazz different from all this different, let's say R&B, hip hop, like, you know, the genre itself? What makes it so different?
Hip hop, you know, I mean, it's as Quincy Jones says, it's all jazz. A lot of the hip hop songs that are sampled are by jazz musicians. R&B, all the musicians playing, you know, are usually jazz musicians. So it's all jazz, you know. Blues, you know, it all started with the blues, then jazz, and a lot of that music, soul music, R&B comes from jazz. But the thing like hip hop is also a way of life, you know.
Sure, yeah.
So reggae, you know, is a way of life. Jazz too, you know, it was before all this other contemporary music. Jazz was the first. You know, after blues, you had jazz as a huge, you know, type of music that people used to dance to in clubs, even here. So it's not different. It's just, how can I put it? It's a way of life like other genres are, you know. But jazz has been around longer. That's the, you know, that's the one. It's the daddy, you know. And as they say, the blues are the roots. The rest are the fruits.
Okay.
You know?
So you would say that jazz is pretty much the foundation?
It's the foundation, yes.
Okay. And you as Shaka, you know, what draws you to jazz? As in, I mean, you could have done anything else. Reggae, I'll picture you doing reggae.
Well, I think you're too young to know that, you know, that I used to do reggae.
Oh.
I was the first person to record a reggae album, probably in East Africa.
Okay.
You know, that's in 1993. I used to have a reggae band. You know, I still play reggae. I still write. I wrote like 1,000 reggae songs. You know, so jazz for me was a transition. You know, from I still do reggae, but I'm a musician, not just. I don't even consider myself a jazz musician. I'm just a musician who happens to play jazz. You know. But I felt jazz needed, you know, I promoted reggae for nearly 20 years, you know. Reggae, at the time I started doing reggae, it was considered music for lumpens and street urchins, you know. And then we brought reggae from downtown to uptown, you know, shows in Serena, I mean, Nile Hotel then, Sheraton. Right now, everybody is doing reggae, you know, from gospel artists to everybody, you know. So I took it to where I could take it, you know. So I thought I should take, you know, jazz and soul also to the, you know, to a level that it can be appreciated more than it is.
Okay. Yeah, and also, I mean, there's many jazz artists. To name a few, who is your favorite jazz musician, or who, could I say, role model, or who got you really mainly that track that got you interested in jazz?
There are quite a lot, but I would say Miles Davis, you know, who's everybody's, you know, but we even share a birthday with Miles Davis, the king of cool. So Miles, yes, and many others, you know, but Miles was the epitome, you know, the proper definition of jazz. His style, you know, was never static. He kept, you know, changing jazz and moving it to other levels, even when other people thought he was selling out.
So now getting to this concert, the Jazz Safari, how do you start getting involved in this? How did you come about? You want to do music for charity?
Yeah, we did music, but we started with Elijah, who hosts Radio 1. When Elijah was hosting Radio 1 Jazz Evenings, the first 2 years he had to sponsor it himself from his pockets. And then after that, sponsors came on board. So we decided to do something that take it from radio and take it to the street, you know, and bring it out for people to watch, you know. Like I did for reggae, whereby people were thinking, we hear all this music in the clubs, can we get to see these guys? So that's what we did, even for jazz. And they hear these people, how about if we bring these people to the audience to see them live, you know. So you know, we've been blessed, you know, a lot in that regard. That people have seen reggae groups they never thought they'd ever see. Grammy Award winners, and now we're doing jazz and soul, same thing.
Yeah.
So that was the inspiration. So people could get a chance to, even the local musicians, to get a chance to see superior artists and superior organization, which has helped a lot in improving even concert standards of concerts here. You know, before we did these things in the 90s, you would laugh if you knew, you know, what was called a stage, you know. But now, with this competition coming from superior musicians, it helps everybody lift their game.
Okay. Yes. And you know, as they were introducing the show, they said it's going to cut the money me why you decided to do this concert for, you know, for a cause. What drives you? Because most musicians, they want to make their money, you know?
Yeah, I've never really made money from music, you know, for all these years. So I thought, you know, why not start? What's the point of just doing a show for the sake of it? I mean, there's no satisfaction, you know. But also, the cancer thing was a bit close to home, you know. A lot of people we know are really ill now, and you know, so we thought it can be you, it can be, you know, and if there's no cancer ward, you know, a lot of cancer is prevented, a lot of it. So we thought we should support that, you know. So it's a good cause, and we want to support the Rotary cancer ward that they're building in Zambia.
So tell us, there's going to be a big show happening. What should we expect for that show? What musicians should we expect?
Well, Regina Bell will be here, probably the first time in Africa. Gerard Robert will be back, and Marian Meadows will also be here. A lot of very good musicians backing them. It's a very interactive show. And this year we want to pay tribute to Michael Jackson's music. So there'll be a lot of jazz renditions of Michael Jackson's classics, even Jackson 5 classics.
Going way back.
Yes, then we'll have a tribute also for Whitney, because Jared toured out with Whitney Houston, so we'll have a small tribute also. And then Regina Bell will also do her soul thing, you know. So it's going to be, we're having a hard time, you know, working out which songs to play, because this will have so many hits.
Yeah.
So we're thinking the show will be too long, people will get tired. So we're trying to see what to do about that.
Well, we definitely can't wait to see the show, and thank you very much for talking to me.
You're welcome.
All right.
This is NTV.
Nkwaniriza nnyo eno tuwaye nze Frank Lusimbi. Now, if you think your week was wacky, don't sit back. No day neweekubagiza, because this one could even be more wacky. I tell you. Ebigambo mbadde mbiwulira we bitambula, of course bikyatambula bulungi awala bubi, naye mu byonna tukkiriza nti bijja kutereera gye bujjakaawo. Now, on the bench ninawo omusajja muzanyi akola n'emirimu emirala mingi. Yatandika okukola mu radio mu 1998 erudda awo. Bwe waayitawo emyaka nga gigyo mu 2001 neyegatta ku CBS radio y'obujjajja. Era okuva olwo okutuusa olwaleero akyakola ku radio eyo nga bwazanya n'emizannyo. Abu Kawenja, nsanyusa okulaba. Simanyi njogedde ebituufu.
Ebyera.
Radio wakitandika 98?
98 natandikira ku Radio 1.
Radio 1?
Yeah, Radio 1. Kati nembeera.
Gwe wakeeranga wamma ebiseera nzijukira.
Nakola program bagita Serugogonola. Serugogonola bawujjaazi. Kitegeeza omuntu abakako okuva mu buliri.
Okay.
Ku makyenyi.
Okay. Yeah. Oyagala nnyo okukola ku makyenyi ku CBS oli mukeezi. Si gwasookako ku 88 katonyeze 8.
Naye bwe nali nyingira radio, abaali basunsula ekisooka baŋŋamba sina experience ya radio. Ne bansindika mu mawulire.
Obeere reporter?
Nga ndi news reader.
Okay.
Yeah, so natandika nga news reader ku Radio 1. Naye nga njagala nnyo okubeera ku mpewo. Kakati olumu ne wabawo omukyala.
News reader ku Radio 1?
Ku Radio 1, yes.
Fine.
Ne wabawo omukyala yali aweleza certain program ku makya bamuyita Tereza Namujuzi. N'aba nti yeeyongerayo agenda akola ebirala. Kati awo omukyala Maria Kiwanuka n'aŋŋamba waŋŋamba dda nti oyagala kukola program.
Yeah.
Konze kyekyo. Nanga nti njikukwasizza. Awo
oyingirira awo. Nzijukira ku makya naye Radio 1 n'erinnya lye mwali muwadde program eyo simanyi kati ani abeerako gundi Judy. Byali bikwatagana bitya eringa radio y'oluzungu ennyo wenyigawo otya n'erinnya lye eggwanvu bwerityo.
Baali bataddewo essaawa emu n'ekitundu nga ya Luganda.
Okay.
Okuva ku ssaawa 11 paka ssaawa 12 ekitundu. ng'eyo program ya Luganda. Then okuvaawo ne mugenda paka saawa 3. Awo nga oluzungu kati lutandika saa 12:30 okweyongerayo paka saawa 3.
Okay.
So kati nakolanga ey'okumakya okuva ku saawa 11 paka 12:30 then nenvaawo ate ne neegatta mu y'oluzungu paka saawa.
Nalwo olwogera.
Nga nalwo ndwogera.
Kwe kulemerako okwo.
Ndowooza ya advantage yange eyo nti yonna ngwayo bulungi.
Kubanga omanye ennimi zombi.
Ennimi zombi ezimanyi.
Wasoma radio, wasoma mawulire oba mizannyo?
Nasoma mizannyo theatre gye natandikira.
Right.
Bwe mala theatre kati degree yange eri ya theatre then nengenda ku postgraduate nenkola mass communication. Then nengenda ne ku masters ya mass
communication nga degree
PGD.
Postgraduate diploma.
Yeah. Mass com. Then after nengenda ku journalism and communication ere Makerere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tubulira ku transition ya Radio 1 CBS.
Tewali wangu amateeka ebiseera ebyo galinga mangi ate
amateeka gatya
amateeka ga companies. Company egenda nekuga nti bw'ova ku radio yaffe olina okumala emyezi 3 nga tokola. Kati ng'ekyo tukitya emyezi 3 nga ndyawa.
Ekyo kyaliwe wali so si nti teeka lyali geno.
Kirabika mu buli radio kyaliyo. Kati era tukizuula luvannyuma nga maze kuvaayo nti eryeteeka litiisa.
Likyaliwo.
Libeerayo era abasayininga contracts balisangayo.
Liba liwandiike?
Liba liwandiike liba mu contract. Omala emyezi 3
nga balemesa nnyo.
Naye tumala okuvaayo we nakitegeerera nti eryeteeka liba terikkirizibwa terisobola kukola bulungi. Naye nga
so bw'ova ku Radio 1 2020 ng'atandika
awo wakati kati May
wamala era myezi 3 nga tokola.
Namala gumu.
Okay.
Namala gumu kubanga list eri ogumu kikkirizibwa nti olina okuwa 1 month notice. Kati saawa 1 month notice ekitegeeza nalina okusasula sente ezo. Naye kati ate n'aba ku CBS tebaali tebakitutte kyamangu nti nina okujoyininga. Ate balina okubalinda okuvaawo. So ne baŋŋamba nti ogira obeerawo omwezi gumu.
Okay. Ogenza ku CBS etandisa awo myaka gyali giwezenga emeka? Yali eyingidde emyaka 5.
Ndowooza yali etandika awo bweti egenda.
Bakuweerawo programu era?
Era najja nga strategy yange ekyandeesa kyali kyakukola ku makya.
Right.
Kubanga Sematimba yali agenda. So they thought I was a perfect replacement. Nenzija nintandikira Sematimba bweyako. Kwegamba abantu basookawo ne boogera bingi. Nange kenyini nembanga atiddemu naye nga ate nali neesiga nti nze omusajja yantendeka nga yampa foundation ennungi.
Sematimba yali musajja w'amaanyi.
Sematimba yali musajja w'amaanyi naye nze nagamba mukama wange nti I will draft that man.
Okay.
And indeed it happened. Babangamba nti mu mwezi gumu nali maze okumanyiira ng'ate kati olwo creativity yange kati etandise okujja kati olwo neesumulula nsumulukuka. The rest is history.
Wajjiranga era programu eyo ye bwakedde mpulira. Okay.
Bwakedde mpulira.
Ku 88 Chabasa ebifulumidde mu mpapula z'amawulire.
Byanjawulo ki bye wasanga CBS Radio 1?
I think mode of operation yanjawulomu. Eno CBS ekolanga as an institution kubanga jjukira eri wansi wa government ya Buganda ate Radio 1 radio ya muntu. N'olwekyo decision making nyangu nnyo ku Radio 1. Naye eno it has to be a committee. They have to be very careful. Ate nga tobanenya kubanga tebipapirwako ebintu ebyo tebipapirwako ebya institution.
Fine. Ate bino ebya theatre mpulira abanyumya babeera bakujerega waliko omusawo w'ekinnansi. Jerego bituufu.
Baba banjerega.
Nze nali ngamba wali sangoma omusajja ono.
No, nagenda bugenze South Africa on holiday.
Right.
Kakati nga waliyo mukwano gwange yave Uganda. Gwe nali ngenza okukyalira.
Okay.
Bwe ntuuka
mwaka kyogo.
That is 98. Manyi kwega leave ku Radio 1 was mandatory.
Okay.
Nga mulina okugenda ku leave. Kati bwe ntuuka naŋŋamba ekigambo ekyanneewuunyisa. yaŋŋamba nonno nze ndi musawo Muganda anonye ku kisaawe
Sangoma
webitandika ddi ebyo nti eno tuyiiya buli kimu
Bannayuganda bayize South Africa
so kati olw'okuba ndi nange very inquisitive nga njagala ndabe biki bino byakola naye era awo nakakasiza ebintu bino ebyamayembe balimba oli yayogeranga ng'olabira ddala
ebyawano Uganda si bya bulimba ebimu naye South Africa okusinziira ku mboozi
bya bulimba
so n'otuukayo nolaba bwafera abantu
ndaba bwafera abantu ate nga abantu bakkiriza aba South Africa kye baliko bakkiririza mu nkola ez'ekinnansi balinayo n'omulogo wa gavumenti bamulina bali very very superstitious tiimu we begenda okusamba omupiira basangoma abo bonna bavaayo ndooza babeera ba professor ni balagula era ndooza ne World Cup baali bamanya ekikopo bakitwala
munywanyi wonga naye ali eyo kyenda
eyo akyusa ebintu akola kino akola kiri engamba Katonda wange kakati olw'okuba nayagalanga nnyo okumanya byeyakolanga nga naye tanzikiriza kubiyiga nga mubuuza nti kati ebintu amaloboozi ago gakyusa otya ekyo no bantendekera ebbanga ddene naye gwe ekibi oli wano ebbanga ttono ze kutukyalirako ddayo tojja kusobola bbiyiga so kakati we nakomawo eno nennyumiza bannange nti eri nno obusawo Obuganda obuli bwobadde okola naye nga
tokibeerangako wazanyira gye banyumya
South Africa nazanyirayo emizannyo gumu baguyita Mother Courage and Her Children nalukalala n'ezzadde lye ogwandikibwa Battle Brecht naye nga twava wano ttiimu eyava Uganda so naye nga nakyalako mu theatres zaayo ng'olaba drama waabwe ali waggulu nnyo ku waffe balina regional theatres nga structures ziri simple naye ng'olaba equipment gwe balinayo n'enthusiasm y'abantu y'amaanyi as far as theatre is concerned so twagendayo ku festival ya Grahamstown Festival awo we nazanyirayo omuzannyo then ne tugenda ne mu bagiyita Kennedy Center mu Washington era awo nayo ne tuzanyirayo for around 3 weeks then ne
okuzanya kuno ne Ethiopia okuzanya emizannyo kuno wakitandikira mu ssomero ba wakirondo maze kuva mu ssomero
actually nze first qualification yange ya accountant nasoma accountant dramatist
radio journalist
so unfortunately sa practicing naye nga I was very good at financial accounting in fact waliwo ebibuuzo ebya CASNEB examining bwe nayo CASNEB bagamba nti nze nasinga mu mwaka gwe twatuula in fact n'aba company bagiyita Coopers and Librand ne bampa ebbaluwa enjozaayoza kati we mmala okusoma accountants opportunity ya university nejja eya music dance and drama so neŋŋenda nenkola music dance and drama kati awo we natandikira okuzannyawo emizannyo
otandise na muzannyo kyogutandikirawo
emizannyo natandikira mu Christopher Muchibi with the theatricals. By the way, when I am Christopher Muchibi with the theatricals, now listen, kugenda ku university. So you ka training, nga tu training ira okula bonita. Twabera ngawo tuzannyo muzadde n'omwana, tuzannye kitalo, tuzannye emizannyo mingi. Bagayita gafa busanedda. Waliwo amaka. N'agaali amakulu namuzannyako kubanga bwenva emakerere na joininga kayimbira kubanga senkubuge
bakayimbira wagiremu
bakayimbira nagiremu
kugenze wanjirinda ko tugenda kutandikirawo tukyagenda amaaso ne tuwaye ndine abuka wenja muweereza ku CBS radio y'obujjaji katugende maaso ndine yabuka wenja owaye ne bakayimbira nayo ng'ogirimu
bakayimbira nagizanyira mu bbanga lyawera
ogiyingira mwaka ki
nagiyingira immediately nga nvuddeyo emakerere that was 98 ngenda okuyingira mu radio 1 ng'ate ndi mukayimbira
wali actor already
ndi actor already
senkubuge wali omumanyi nga tonnaje
senkubuge nali simumanyi before naye we naberere Makerere nga masters student ng'akola drama. Kakati babeera ne projects ze bakola. So yannonda nkole project ey'omuzannyo baguyita Majangwa. Ogwawandiikibwa Serumaga omugenzi. So awe twatandikira ne Senkubuge. Yeah. Then era twali tulina ne project gye twali tubaddemu ku National Theatre yali involving aba artists bonna ab'omu Uganda.
Ba artists better specific umanyi twamanyira nti n'omuyimbi naye abeera artist
ngambe ba theatre practitioners
abazanyi
b'emizannyo be baagirimu kuba yali sponsored by British Council. Yeah, British Council. So when nasookira ddala omumeetinga mu project eyo kubanga baali bamuwadde ekifo mu muzannyo gwe bayita Nalukalala n'ezzadde lye naye nga tajja mu rehearsal.
Guli gwe mwatambuze
twatambuza
South Africa.
Yeah. Kakati yali tajja mu rehearsal. So omusomesa wange andi aba busy.
Okay.
Nga aba busy. Kakati omusomesa wange yali agudirectinga n'angamba jangu ogezeeko. So nenzija nengezaako ne performinga bulungi nnyo. Kati wayita nkubugajja azanye
tebamuga nti ekifo kyo
anti kakati olwo nze ndi mupya mu bana abazannyi bagamba nti ekifo nanyini kyakitwale ono omwana asooka kati ng'omusomesa agamba waliwo n'omukyalo omuzungu bamuyita Jane Collins ng'agamba nti bannange tetwanguwa kujjamu mwana oyo tya Senkubugazze kati ng'obaga nti mumanyi kye tuba tukola bombi tubagezese ji kale ate oyo omwana aneesimba ku Senkubuge ngeno banga nti owaayo nno kati ezo mpaka weetegeke gw'osookawo konze kale nensookawo nendyoka rolo njiwa my best. In fact nagiwanika nnyo n'agamba Senkubuge waali n'agamba nti bannange nze mumpe ekirala ekyo sijja kisobola awoyo kakitwala
bwali bwenkanya
bwali bwenkanya. So awo kifo nekitwalira ddala ne tugenda mu America ne tuzannya ne tugenda South Africa ne tuzannya.
Tewatandika group yiyo?
Natandika eyange bagiyita Adizido Performers. Adizido Performers.
Yadda we?
Wiri.
Dala?
Muzanya. Wiri. Tuzannya wao performances zaffe ziri periodical. Kwegamba neweesanga nti egira n'enzito owereramuko netuwummuzaamuko naye tuzanya set plays ez'amasomero tuzanya Lozio Basesiria
Bemba ate
egy'oluzungu nagigezaako nazanyako ku Betrayal in the City Francis Mbuga naye abazanyi baffe mu luzungu
kiki
police
diction mbi
nnyo balutya olaba olinga teyeeyagala
oba kyetulemereddwa n'okufeaturinga mu firimu ez'amaanyi Hollywood maybe.
Okay, muzaamanyi tubaddeyo some of us nazanya mu
wali gwe abe mukibi muli babali
naye kyovola nti n'emizannyo egy'oluzungu era oba n'efirimu ez'oluzungu era nazo ntono
oba audience nayo teriiwo abalabi
background ya English wano mu Uganda ekyali nzibuzibu.
Adizido ogitandika mwaka ki?
Adizido ngitandika mu mwaka ogwa 2000 nga schedule yange ebadde efuuse very busy nga kayimbira sikyasobola kubeerayo. At times nalina show gye nakolanga ku 5 o'clock ku Lwamukaaga ate nga wabaayo show ku Pride so ngenda okulaba nga sikyasobola nensalawo ntandikewo ekibiina ekyange nsobole okuzannyanga we naabanga nfunye obudde.
Ne musomero mugundi wazannyako mu primary eyo wasomanga busomi kujja kusoma bya bulijjo?
Nalinga nsoma bya bulijjo okujjako nazannyako ku bikonde twazanya ne banyakaana abo
nyakaana ono gwamutendeka ye
yatendeka.
Wasomera ekitereeza ku Kampala?
Nasomera Kampala High. Nasomera ku Shimoni nozera zonna zaasenguka.
So high school osomye busomi tewali nti no uzanye emizannyo ebiri awo?
Naye nga ate passion ya radio nali njirina. Okuva mu secondary wonna nawulirizanga omuvubuka bamuyitanga DJ Mulondo, Richard Mulondo nga muwuliriza nnyo ku radio Uganda nga njagala nnyo okubeera nga Mulondo Leero lwamalaawo okusoma ne ntandika okunoonya radio naye nazo tezaali.
Mulondo yekka tewaliwo baweereza balala.
Abalala baalinga bakulu, Karim Brown yali mukulu nga ololanga era byakola ye ejigo naye nga ndaba Mulondo ye muvubukako ye yasobola okubreakinga through.
Wava dda ng'oyagala programu ezirimu kuba nnyimba.
Nalinga mmanyi okuyimba ennyimba ozikwata verbatim word for word. Mama nakuga nti onosoma ddi ku bitabo guli mu kuyimba kwesinaba naye oli kuluyimba buli luyimba olukuba olumanyi osomako ddi naye ng'ekintu ekyo ekyokukola ku radio nali nkirinamu era we najoininga radio
kituukiridde. Okay, so radio gibaddemu ofunye experience ekirala kikye watunuulira awo kyosobola okukola outside.
Kwega bwe nasoma nenkizuula nti waliwo limitation as far as abantu abasomye especially radio production. So kati nensalawo nenyongera okusoma then nentandika okusomesa era at the moment
wazula nti
waliwo abasomesa baali batono
abayinza okusomesa abaana okujja bakole mu radio.
Right. Baali batono. So taking up, in fact, in Salawo broadening area broadcasting. So name specializing on radio. Then kati nsomesa kumutesa one university. Nsomesa first years I want introduction to broadcasting. Yeah. And then era nange nina training center. Kubanga nakizuula institutions ensomesa zaamu tebalina facilities.
Ebiseera tebimala.
Kumalayo buli kimu yabwe bali mu birala. So nensalawo nze ate nentandikawo practical training center nenteekawo studio
nina console
nina studio abaana we bajja ne bapracticingira nina computers kwe bakolera editing and using the basic programs eza zino CS3, CS4, CS5.
Editing.
Then the sound editing.
Radio zuddemu bunafu ki abu abantu bagenda ne bajja buli omu asobola okukwata microphone n'ayogera
ekyo nakyo
asobola okukola mu radio munnamawulire
anti kati awo wali obuzibu kuba baganda ffe bannamawulire tuganye okuteekinga industry yaffe nga professional erina free entry and free exit naye ate wabawo obuzibu kati nga bannaffe abagenda okukavaringa amawulire bwe bakuba emiggo ate ne balisikayo professionalism ne bajjukira
tulina n'ekibiina
ekitugatta naye ng'ate ebibiina era history yabyo kimanyi niju ne wuja tebikwatagana kubanga okubeera mu niju olina kubeera olina diguri ate batono abazirina naye ng'eyo aspect ya free entry and exit ekyatuzzaamu emabega kubanga era ojja kwesanga nti gavumenti ejja kufuna omuwaatwa oyegambira nti bajournalists si batendeke bulungi eyogufuna bakoleyo ekitiisa bagira ati olukakana nga babaggala kwegamba efuna liwe naye ate senga ffenna tuddayo ne tugezaako okusoma kijja tuyambako awo we say everything safely.
Omanyi ne bannannyini mwe mwangwira okutuukira bannannyini emikutu bw'osanga nannyini radio ng'oyo tomuwa ku magezi nti owaaye wadde omuntu alina eddoboozi ddungi naye mubazzeeyo
okugamba bakama baffe
media owners.
Okay, media owners oyinza okuba advising yes naye ate jjukira nze olwo obeera nkoko njeru kubanga naawe oli mu industry nze kati okwadvisinga radio station endala ate nga nange mwendi abagamba nti maybe alina kirala kyagoba kiraba naye bw'oba oli out of the industry kati a criticism eyinza okuteekingibwa oli n'agibayinga n'asalawo n'akola changes naye bw'oba ate naawe okumpiitinga naye tosobola muwa amagezi takkiriza
kwegamba okutwalizaamu tukyalaba abantu abayingira mu radio TV mu mpapula z'amawulire olw'okuba maybe basobola okukikola
kuba n'ekirala ne regulation zaffe seziri that stringent amateeka yesu weegali naye tegali enforceable kati awo ojja kwesanga nti basobola okuyingira naye senga amateeka gano gabeera enforced awo ojja kwesanga nti radio stations zijja kufaayo then ekirala radio stations esinga ziri commercial kakati ate jukira tuthrivingira nnyo ku talent than training kakati tujjaga nti omuntu ono apulinga crowd gye twagala
weewaawo talina
bisaanyizo tabiina. So government yali esazeewo egende head on ku kintu ekyo naye ne basalawo ne barelaxinga ne baba encouraging okuddayo okusoma nga wetwetereeza.
Tukyalina amawulire oba tuyina entertainment bintu bya mulabeemu muwulirize musanyuke?
Ekyo kyandibadde awo naye ate oyinza okwebuuza nti lwaki ge tutwalanga entertainment ate ga attractinga nnyo abantu. Kati ojja kwesanga nti oyinza okwesanga nti wabaddewo deficiency awo nga ekintu kye tubadde tuwa abantu oba si kyekyo kye baagala oba kibasukkulumyeko oba tukiteekinze for granted. Kati entertainment ezze and that is what people love. Ojja kulaba nti mwana muwala black ayinza okufuna front page coverage.
Prime Minister
Jatafa. Naye nga lwaki?
Tulirakisinze abantu tebakyayagala bintu bikola makulu. Problem kijo. Suubiri eriweddewo.
Kati badduka n'amawano. Amawano
gaba esuubi nnyumira okusoma bya muloogi.
Ati kati munnaye otambulireko eyo.
Omalirewo ebiseera.
Omalireyo ebiseera kuba ndowooza obeeramu nakano nti birabika tebijja kukyuka. N'omalira ebiseera bulijjo byebyo. Kyova olaba nti zino trivialization ebadde y'amaanyi nnyo mu news. Naye ate ng'ekyagenda nnyo, kyagenda mu maaso.
Kakati tewali radio especially mabakola muzita morning drive oba ne evening drive. Okutwazamu olunaku lwonna lugwerako program ogenda okubala buli emu erimu engeri y'akatemba. Entertainment somehow.
Anti theatre unfortunately plays a big role in radio. In fact, present omulungi waliwo omusajja gwe bayita Dagandawood.
Yes.
Agamba nti present omulungi abeera ne theatrical background. It is crucial to radio broadcasting. A theatrical background. Nabano bannaffe betunyumirwa ab'omutawaana ba Howard Stern. Era okalanga kakatemba. In fact, ate Howard Stern ayina katemba mungi.
Ayinamu bakita humor okusobola okwogera.
Controversy weewaawo wano tutyamu. Ajasobola okuba nti oli ku CBS olina okubeera very careful biki by'oyogera waliwo by'otamala gasaagiramu naye ate ye ali free okukola kyonna ky'ayagala. In fact era kyobola nti kati yadda ku satellite radio amateeka tegalina we gamukwatirako. Eno muzi FCCs yavaayo kati wane waffe tukyayina ekintu ekyo tukyagenda mpola mpola naye nga theatrical background eri very very crucial. Era kyobola nti bannakatemba abasinga bali ku radio naye nga webaga nti ebinyeebwa bibimba ne bikka bijja kukka.
Bwe tunaakoma onootukubira layini wakati wa katemba n'amawulire abantu bali confused nnyo ku issue eyo. Tukyagenda maaso ne tuwaye ndi ne Abu Kawenja muweereza ku CBS. Katugende maaso. Abu bwemba nva ndi munakatemba nkola ebyange byokuzanya emizanyo nzize ku radio bampadde okola show ng'eyo okugeza kikola amakulu okudda ku mawulire agali serious naye ngaddamu ne ngasaagiramu obogga waabwe abantu mu ngeri yaffe eya drama.
Ekyo tekikkirizibwa sijaga nti tekikkirizibwa naye tekisaana. Ekyo ye trivialization information ne tugijebula ne tugisaagiramu ekyantu kyandibadde serious. Ndowooza n'abantu nabo buli kye bawulira era bakitwala mu nkola ya kusaaga ne batakisimbako nnyo mulaka nakuddamu kukirowoozaako.
Ekitegeeza nti mwe abali ku zi radio well ne TV oba ne empapula z'amawulire musetinga agenda abantu kwe batambulira.
At times yes naye ate jjukira twaliyo ne objective z'abakama baffe wanazo tulina ozifrontinga. Maybe the information teri ntandemu ne objective z'abakama baffe. Awo tulina okubeerawo no very careful.
Omanyi twekwasa nnyo nti bino abantu bye baagala bino ebisese ebikola ki naye nga
andi olwokuba bye tubawadde
mu mukitaddewo
bye tubawadde era tuyinza okuga nti situation eyinza okubeera unfortunate tetubagayidinze kubanga abantu at least nga as media houses tulina obagayidinga nti waliyo nakino nakyo kibeerayo. Weebaawo bayinza okusooka ne bakigaana mu ntandikwa naye bwe kiba kikoleddwa obulungi bakitwala. Naye kati ojja kwesanga nti baagala nnyo ebibakwatako oba bye basuubira nabo bye bakwatako. Ebbaluwa efuna listenership y'amaanyi nnyo. Kaliisoliiso gwe tukola nga wa bya mizannyo naye nga twongeddemu ne element endala kye tuyita spontaneity ate weesanga nga naye abakwata nnyo. kakati tujja kwesanga nti information ya sports tulina ogisaagiramu kubanga ekyo ate kye basinga okwagala bonna bajja kumanya maaniyo bwe yateebye naye ate katemba gwe twongeddemu ku kuteba kwa maaniyo oba okwa Ferguson kyayogedde
ate kikola nnyo amakulu okudefininga okalisolisa ali well defined mulimu sports naye ne satire mwali mungi nga bolaba NTV tukola amawulire waliwo tuleeta
ne mubeeramu na
Zungulu for example ali specifically tumu designinze okulaga nti bino tebiri serious kugamba tu mu luzungu bakita satirical rendition ensonga eziri serious ne muzitoninga down ne mujjamu ebisesa and what have you abantu tebatuusa okuba layini wakati w'abannakatemba n'abannamawulire abaddala
kyo kijja kujja kyekyo kye nagaye nti ebinyeebwa bwe bibimba bitandika ne bikola ki eyo layini ejja kujja weesange nga industry erimu balina kubeeramu kijja kujja ekyo
naye radio ekyakula radio industry eno omazeemu emyaka kati kumpi 12
bye tutannakola wano bingi for example mu Uganda tetulina documentaries features zetulina ntono nnyo eza radio surprisingly radio dramas nazo ntono surprisingly ojja kwesanga tulina banadda na Rock Point waliwo ne radios endala ezibadde zitandise okugira naye nga ku radios 19 ezeeyo n'omusomo lwaki tubeera ne radio dramas eziringa 10 zokka why production mu Uganda ndoza 80% eri live kiwulira microphone naye bwe tunaagenda mu recording mode egenda kudda nga buli program eri recorded just in case to ensure that ethics zonna zigobereddwa
producer kye twawuliranga edda nti omutesitesi
tetumulina kati muzino FM
bw'ojja bwakedde mpulira omanyi bw'onootambuza ekintu
nze mmanyi bwe nakitegese yesterday ngeri gyengenda gwe mwanjuzi gwe buli kimu naye kati bwe tunaddayo ku recording mode nga programs ezisinga zibeera recorded kubanga tulina okuyigendereza bye tulina okujjamu agenda ayogera ebya swakabaawo akuleetera obuzibu kakati ensonga eyo olw'okuba programs zaffe ziri live buli omu zaayagala naye bwe kinaatuuka mu radio dramas kuba omuntu alina okuwandika tulina okugenda mu production to recording tulina okukola kino tulina okukola kiri mulina okusoma scripts awo nga becoming a tedious nga buli muntu akidduka
mu ntandika wagumiza ensonga ya private gundi zino owned stations bannyinizo banoonya ssente abantu banagenda okulowooza producer asasula meka gundi wa meka ng'ebyo bifa tebiyinza
era ojja kwesanga nti kyebiba tebinnaba kujja nnyo naye ebyo bijja kujja singa gavumenti enyweza omukono gwayo ku tteeka lye yateekawo bijja kujja kubanga ejja kubeera requirement okuba nti obalina abantu abo
radio charge eri mu bbanga ki
deneko naye weewaawo nga kiri kyogambye nti golaba radio ekula tekula wane ye Uganda ekyakula naye ate jjukira bwe batugamba 95% south of the Sahara bakozesa radio kati okujjako ng'oreinventinze wheel tosobola gifuula 100 naye ate mwe mu TV muli around 37% ekitegeeza chances zammwe ez'okukula zikyali nnyingi so oyinza okwesanga nti ate tuyinza n'okuborrowingako liifu ekigere ekimu naye nkiteekako mu TV kuba ye ekyakola ki ekyakula innovations zikyajja wano e Uganda bitukyasobola okukola wano bikyali bingi nnyo
ebintu okutwaliza wamu bitambudde bulungi bwenyinza ndooza okugamba
bulungi kagambe bwe nti twafunamu bufunyi buzibu obw'omwaka ogwo gwe baatuggala wali muzibu naye ate awo bwe twategeerera nti tusobola okumalako tusobola okumalako omuntu waba akyusizza enneeyisaayo ndowooza buli bye twali tutekinga for granted kakati twalina okubeera olina kubeera very very keen
lwaki abantu bava mu radio bayingira ebyobufuzi ewamwe ku CBS example nene
olw'okuba CBS
sozi kaddu mukasa kasibante obaani omulala awo gundi wona mu bizinga kabuusu yalingako
kabuusu n'abalala abawerako matiya lwanga lwanika nze ndaba ettutumu nalyo libeerawo naye maybe to them ye next step. Era ojja kwesanga nti bantu bangi nnyo abaagala okuyingira ebyobufuzi nga baagala okuyitira awo. Olabona bana abakubi b'amasimu era naye ayagala amanye nti nze gundi okukakana.
Omuntu okumanya nti oyo munnamawulire gundi akola ku radio, gundi akola ku TV, kyewuunyisa emyaka gy'omaze ku radio.
Omukunda bira mu bwannamawulire
waliwo abakusanga nagamba oyo gundi munnamawulire asobola n'okwesimbawo ne tumulonda kyongera value ki, I mean, kubanga bw'ojja okubeera ow'amawulire okuweereza abantu, of course bajja kumanya kina enjawulo gye kikola.
Ndowooza ziba ssente ze tuba tusuubirayo mu byobufuzi eyo, kubanga bannaffe abaliyo tubalaba balinga oba balina we bazisena.
Omuntu bw'akusanga Abu n'agamba Abu musajja w'amaanyi weesimbewo tukuwe n'akalulu,
batugamba nnyo.
Kyewuunyisa okuba nti abantu beewuunya nti omuntu akola mu media house amanyiddwa.
Ekyokwewuunyisa okuba nti munnaffe akola media house,
kubanda radio nyingi, first of all, TV nyingi, naye abantu ne batwala nti omuweereza gundi wa kitalo, therefore ne bwe yeesimbawo tusobola okumulonda.
Kisobola okusinziira ku eyo enkunkola ye. Then ne radio etuuka mu bantu ki, kuba kati CBS coverage yayo nnene. Then ne kibeeramu nakiri nti abo basajja ba Kabaka ate eyo element y'amaanyi, especially oba weesimbyewo mu bitundu Kabaka byatwala, eyo ebeera plus.
Kikakatako okubeera omuganda okukola ku CBS?
Nedda, wana abatali baganda bangi nnyo be tulinayo ku CBS, bangi nnyo. Naye kakati fe abaliyo weewaawo tetujja kugamba nti tuli awo tusaba ssente nnyingi tukole bwe tuti ne bwe tuti. Gwe bw'oba otuuseyo ng'omuganda ebyo ebeera calling gy'oli. Era kyova olaba nti enkola yaffe eyo yandibadde nti n'abalala tubawa kumwagaanya. Nze nkiraba wali ku Muteesa University abasomesa bava e Makerere ne bava mu institutions endala abaganda nga baga nti njagala nsomeseeko wano bambale nti nange nasomesaawokko. Yeyo contribution yange gye nkoze eki, najja asomeseyo omwaka gumu, ye contribution ye. Kati naffe okuba ku CBS eyo ye contribution yaffe eri Obuganda.
Okusomesa abaana okusanze otya?
Kunyuma, naye omugigi gw'abaana bano abajja, abaana abajja kye baagala tebannakitegeera.
Bakyali mu mulembe gwa Facebook.
Bakyali ogwa Facebook nate nno kale kubanga oyo aba afuuse inivo atambudde na mulembe.
Waliwo abalowoleza mu box ya Facebook and
that is the end of life ndowooza. Naye bajja rigorous training gye twayitamu, byonna bye twayitangamu e Makerere, abaana bogezaako bibateekako bakalubirirwa, balaba obacunya. Okay? The different courseworks, exercises, discussions, tutorials, ebyo byonna balaba obamalira obudde.
Baagala kimu bawe coursework ya lumu mulundi gumu,
omuwe max yeye yongereyo
alinde ekibuuzo.
Kati balinga abaga nti twagala lupapula. Ye syndrome gyendabye singa nfuna ekipapula kyange nga kiwedde.
Tweyanziza nnyo Abu.
Kalisa.
Webale kujja. Tuli kuyita omulundi omulala ne tuwayo ebigambo.
Neyanziza nnyo naye.
Amin. Ebadde tuwaye. Mbadde ne Abu Kawenja muweereza ku CBS. Okutuusa omulundi omulala, nze Frank Alisimbi, mubeere bulungi.
This is NTV.
Jaweza takusau ya zamani lopitia hii dunia.
Bagalalina yendo kole. You should think about tomorrow, not only today.
Influenced by the beauty and unique spirit of his home country, Uganda, Maurice Kirya's music is an uncommon blend of soul, Afro and R&B, which he prefers to call Moyo, which means soul. At the age of 15, Maurice started singing professionally and recorded with popular Uganda gospel, rap and jazz artists. Maurice has performed throughout Africa and was the 2007 Best R&B Artist winner of the Pearl of Africa Music Awards in Uganda. He was also nominated at the Kisima Awards in Kenya and has worked with the legendary Dello, Cecile Verni Quartet from Germany, Beniwe from Paris, First Love from Uganda, Pragmo from Uganda, and Kasozi from the UK.
If I ever lose my mind and don't say that I love you, just know that it's true. And if
Kirya has written songs for different jazz musicians, provided background vocals for singer and producer Steve Jean, and recorded the East African anthem with Susanna Wio from Kenya and Pauline Zongo from Tanzania. In 2008, Maurice joined hands with longtime friend and musician Kawesa to stage a concert dubbed Music with Heart that raised funds for children needing open heart surgery at the Children's Charity Ward in the International Hospital, Kampala. Maurice has performed with Jonathan Butler and was chosen as one of the 10 best live performers in Africa by Sauti za Busara Music Festival. Kirya also runs a monthly show titled The Maurice Kirya Experience that showcases live acts from East Africa and numerous other parts of the world. The show has been credited for boosting the live music scene in Uganda since it exposes established and non-established live musicians and poets on a professional stage. The famous Cecile Verni Quartet has also graced the show. Paris, Rwanda and Sierra Leone, to mention but a few. His concerts have been rated as excellent and have drawn crowds considered mammoth for his genre of music. Isaiah's prayer is to see lives changed through his inspirational story, his music, and God's grace. He has a passion to see young lives changed through his story and music. Isaiah is dedicated to inspiring untapped talent and potential in young East Africans, regardless of what field they choose. As a young boy, Isaiah taught himself how to play the saxophone and used his skill to see himself through school. This gave him the opportunity to meet and work with several leading artists in Uganda, musicians and producers who represent a wide range of genres. And the couple has been blessed with one son, Mitchell. You can catch Isaiah every Friday night on NTV on the Jazz with Isaiah show.
This is NTV.
The presence of the thousands of refugees in our country, particularly in the last few days, is putting a lot of pressure on our facilities.
The Congo crisis.
Uganda government calls international intervention.
is Tuesday night, the 10th of July 2012. This is NTV Tonight, coming to you live from our studios here in Kampala.
Tonight, the Congo crisis depends as refugees continue to flee into Uganda, raising concerns about the conflict's implications to the region. Also tonight, the teachers return once again emboldened and setting a date for strike action. And that forms part of our NTV poll debate tonight. So be sure to have your say. But first, here are the rest of the headlines. Double tragedy, one killed, scores injured as bus ferrying fleeing Congo refugees is involved in an accident.
And be warned, teachers issue strike notice over poor quality of education.
2 years after the July 11 Kampala terror attacks, is Uganda any safer? We explore the issue. A very good evening and thank you for joining us here on NTV Tonight. I am Faith Ariho.
And I am Gabriel Apenu. Thank you for joining us. Tonight, the Uganda government is calling upon the international community to urgently step in to help contain the rapidly deteriorating security situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
In particular, the Ugandan government has expressed concern that its capacity to host the thousands of refugees fleeing DRC is being stretched.
Well, this emerged even as the rebels continued with their advances, with fears that they could attack the key city of Goma tomorrow.
Meanwhile, lawmakers today urged President Museveni to address the nation over the conflict in Congo, saying the situation is likely to adversely affect Uganda.
Maurice Ochol opens tonight's newscast with the details.
It's close to 2 weeks now since fighting broke out in the neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo, forcing a number of troops to flee Congo, with the captured region being occupied by the rebel forces. The government's Minister for Disaster Preparedness argues that it's high time the international community intervenes.
So we invite the international community to help support us in that direction.
The UN Security Council is set to discuss the situation in Congo later today in New York, while African leaders are expected to take advantage of the African Union Summit in Addis Ababa to review the situation. Uganda members of parliament argue that the country will undoubtedly face serious consequences as a result of the high influx of refugees and the worrying trade implications.
Trucks are stranded in the borders of Congo. So many Ugandans who had supplied goods to their counterpart in Congo cannot access and get their money.
Legislators are also questioning as to why the president to date hasn't come out to address the nation on the rebel clashes in Congo and its impact on Uganda.
We want him to explain whether he's not covertly participating with other superpower to destabilize the Republic of Congo. We have evidence, want to give him time.
Excellency, the president of Uganda should come up with a position. He has to say something about it.
And the Sabalwanyi is President Yoweri Museveni. He would use his vast connections and his experience to ensure that he reigns on all over these issues so that there can be stability in the region.
Issue should be addressed. The government should not be silent about this issue because it is a pertinent issue.
Uganda, we have shown a very good gesture of accepting these refugees.
A few years ago, Uganda was taken to the International Court of allegations that it was involved in looting of the resources of Congo.
This direction this war is taking, it should not suck Uganda into it because we yet have other bills to settle.
The diplomatic measures to take have to be really sensitive. Government has to take a conscious approach on how to deal with these issues in Congo.
Last week, the United Nations released a report in which the government of Rwanda was accused of supporting the rebels in Congo. But the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, denied having any links with the rebels. Maurice Ochol, NTV.
Meanwhile, one child is dead and 9 others critically injured after a bus transporting 90 refugees from Congo veered off the road after failing to negotiate a sharp corner at Muko on Kabale Road. The bus was heading to Mwanje in Kamwenge district. Today alone, over 1,500 refugees were transferred as the situation in Congo remains volatile. There are reports that thousands of people living in Goma are also preparing to flee after it was alleged that M23 rebels were lining up the town as their next target for capture. Here is Sudhir Beruhanga.
90 refugees were this morning headed to Camp Ramanje in Kamwenje for a better life after fleeing the ongoing conflict in Congo. But unfortunately, one child met his death at this corner in Muko when their bus overturned, approximately 30 kilometers from Kisoro town. The boy was crushed under the bus that took nearly 5 hours to be removed from this roadside. 7 adults and 1 child were critically injured and were rushed to Kisoro Hospital.
hariya hepfo hageze nta irari heza ahubwo cyane nuko imodoka ibirahirimye nka kuno ndayahenutse nka kuno nuko abo hejuru nko mu bandi guca baturyamo nka kuki tugeze hari aho yazamiye ubu tuhageze irahengama tugenera guhengama tujyana kwa kundi ko yari gihengamaga muri Kanama ubwo twibuka twese twazamye hasi.
A few of the occupants, their journey was cut short as they suffered critical injuries, while others, according to UNHCR officials, the rest of the survivors proceeded in an alternative bus to the camp. Many children and adults endured yet another cold night and were up by 6 a.m. waiting to leave this camp that has been home to over 16,000 refugees since last month. Over 20 buses were hired and 1,581 refugees made it to Kamwenje.
And this, of course, will relieve the current burden of individuals staying here, and also relieve some of the resources such as non-food items, shelter.
But all these people who are now refugees have no hopes of returning home soon. We came across 38-year-old Enoch Muchiza, who fled Ruchuru town that fell in the hands of M23 rebels 2 days ago. He ran away because he feared for his life after his elder brother defected from government forces to the rebel camp.
Nikarudi huko watamaliza mimi. Sasa nirudi nyumbani niende wapi? Mke amekufa, watoto nao wawili wamekosekana wote, nabaki mimi mwenyewe ginzo naona mimi hapa.
As the protracted Congo conflict enters its second week, UNHCR officials say that over 300 refugees are at Ishasha, Uganda-Congo border point from Rukungiri district. Meanwhile, the situation in Goma remains tense since yesterday as Congo government forces continue to reinforce in their nearly largest stronghold in eastern part of the country, according to the information we received from our sources. Over the last 1 week, the Congolese government has not come out to comment on the ongoing conflict. However, we can confirm from Kikaya bin Karubi, Congo ambassador to UK, he has spoken out stating that they are concerned about rebels advancing to Goma, which is about 50 kilometers from the fallen Ruchuru town. They say that they withdrew from the area and left the UN take control and the police, but they warn that if government forces go back to the same town, they are going to attack them and push them further inside Congo. Other reports suggest that the UN is also beefing up its resources to avoid tribal clashes in Goma. It still remains unclear tonight who is attacking who in this conflict between men who once shared the same table and still wear the same uniform. Meanwhile, rebel spokesman Kazarama told NTV that there will be a press conference in Bunagana tomorrow where they will unearth their political wing. Sudil Biarhanga, NTV, Bunagana.
Okay, staying with the Congo crisis, upheavals inside Uganda's western neighbor often raises concern domestically, not only because of a shared border, but also shared history. So joining me in the studio tonight to discuss the implications of the current internal conflict in Congo on Uganda is the spokesperson of the Uganda People's Defense Forces, Colonel Felix Kulaije. A very warm welcome to NTV tonight, Colonel.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, Colonel, to begin with, what are the implications of the ongoing conflict in the DRC on Uganda?
Well, they are enormous. Starting from what the Minister of State for Disaster Preparedness mentioned, it's a strain on our resources to look after these refugees. It's diversion from other pressing issues. Bududa has just happened, and now resources have to be diverted to receive these refugees. But also the issue of spillover effect of conflicts. When there's a conflict in a neighboring country, there's a spillover effect. 1, refugees. 2, attendant problems of crime. 3, you have now to deal with even combatants who are fleeing. that adds another issue on you, because combatants have to be segregated from the civilian refugees, which we have had to do. So it indeed has an impact on the economy, on the political setup. And the fourth factor we can't ignore is that the people along our border are relatives of the people who have been affected by the conflict. So inevitably, emotional attachment is there to this conflict.
Okay.
So it definitely affects us socially, economically, and politically.
Okay. Yeah. Of course, we're not prepared for how events are unfolding in the recent weeks, but how prepared right now is Uganda for what is happening?
I can speak for the UPDF.
Okay.
We have been monitoring this situation for a number of months. We need to remember that Bunagana, for example, has been changing hands time and again during Taganda, Nkunda's days, now in Taganda. One time it is the government forces, and next time you have the rebels. And as a result, we had definitely to now have a presence in Kisoro to monitor the situation, to protect our people. And the event of people spilling over, the military is normally quick to be able to organize the refugees, accommodate them temporarily as we wait for the relevant government and international agencies to handle them. Yes.
Speaking about the military, Colonel, to what extent are you prepared? To what extent has this affected the fight against the ADF inside the Democratic Republic of Congo?
First of all, we have not begun fighting the ADF. The ADF is inside Congo. We have not yet got permission by the Congolese government to cross over.
Yes, reports say you're still on our side.
Yes, still on our side. But the Congolese forces tried to fight the ADF, and the results were not very good on the government side. At first, they defeated the ADF and killed one of their commanders. The ADF made a counterattack, overran the Congolese defense, captured a number of good weapons, including artillery pieces. So this conflict has given them now a reprieve to build more capacity, and that definitely makes us more interested in what's going on there. But we have an international border to respect.
Does this spell a breakdown in cooperation between our forces and those in the DRC?
Not at all, not at all. In fact, that's why the combatants who have segregated from the rest of the refugees are being organized to be handed over to the government side. We enjoy cooperation with the Congolese government and the Congolese forces, and therefore this is not the right time to abandon them. Yeah, it's a time instead to extend as much cooperation as we can within the framework of international law and within the geopolitics of the region.
Okay, should we expect a build-up of Ugandan troops on the border with us and the DRC?
Should the security of our people be threatened beyond the current levels, inevitably we might have to step up. Especially if, for example, we monitor an increase in the movement of ADF towards the border, then we have no choice.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and how should the current conflict in Congo, from a military standpoint, be resolved?
Thank you. It's quite a tricky situation. We already have a forum, the Tripartite Plus, which brings together Congo and her three neighbors, Burundi, Rwanda, and Uganda. And this forum was always to discuss the negative forces, as they call them in the UN language, that use the Congolese territory to disturb their home countries. You had the Padepehutu rebels in Burundi, you have the Interahamwe and EXFA from Rwanda, and then ADF, now LRA from Uganda. And this Tripartite Plus would provide a forum, one, to discuss how to go about dealing with these issues. Two, we also have bilateral arrangements, whereby we have a liaison office in Beni to monitor the other side and share intelligence with our counterparts. This would, first of all, be the starting point. But it's also important that the African Union comes in. I personally believe that the African Union would be better placed now, at this particular point in time, to address the Congo crisis better than the United Nations. It's important that people educate themselves on the history of the Congo. Maybe we will prescribe medicine given our understanding of the history.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much for joining us on NTV.
The pleasure is mine.
Okay.
Okay.
We've been speaking to Colonel Felix Kulaije, the UPDF spokesperson, on the situation inside the DRC and its impact on Uganda. Now, the International Criminal Court has handed down a 14-year jail term to Congolese warlord Thomas Lubanga in its first ever sentence after Lubanga's conviction for using child soldiers in a brutal conflict in the Central African country. Now, Lubanga, detained in The Hague since March of 2006, will, however, effectively only spend 8 years in prison. The court had taken into account the time he spent behind bars. The 51-year-old was convicted in March of war crimes, specifically for using child soldiers in his rebel army in the Democratic Republic of Congo in 2002 and 2003. Now, criticized for its slow progress, Lubanga's sentence marks the ICC's first since it started work a decade ago. Groups that promote human rights and accountability for international crimes expressed their dissatisfaction at the sentence, taking into account the thousands of lives lost during the conflict. The judges considered a range of issues, but also mitigating circumstances, as Lubanga had cooperated with the proceedings.
Now, next tonight, teachers under the umbrella of the Citizens Action for Quality Public Education are threatening a two-day strike over the quality of public education in Uganda. The teachers, who for a second time in 3 weeks have mooted a strike, appeared emboldened by the backing of non-government organizations and religious groups. They want Parliament to act on what they say is a decline and will also hold national prayers as part of the campaigns. Arina Mialo reports.
This time, the priority not being the contentious salary increment, but what they are calling a crisis in public education in Uganda. They have been joined by different organizations, among them the Uganda Joint Christian Council, Uganda Muslim Education Association, Forum for Education NGOs in Uganda, and Action Aid International Uganda, among others, under the campaign, the Citizens Action for Quality Public Education.
USC has come up. What are the qualities are we getting there? Going to the field, the teachers you are sitting with, they are there. They cannot fend for their families. Parents are crying. Their children are in school, but they are not learning. What must we do?
They say schools like Kawempe Muslim Primary School, where they met today, was a serious school, but since the start of UPE, the school has not only deteriorated in the education standard, but also lacks basics like school furniture and therefore studying while seated down. They are therefore petitioning Parliament on the 16th and the 17th of this month to ensure that such issues affecting Ugandan education are addressed in the National Budget 2012-2013 before it is approved. This will be followed by the National Days of Prayers for Quality Public Education in Uganda.
Education is the key. If each one of you did not receive proper education as journalists, as press men and women, you wouldn't be here doing a work that is recognized in society. What about our children there?
However, the Minister for Education, Jessica Alupo, thinks this group is exaggerating the problem. She recommends a meeting involving all parties to iron out their concerns.
But to say that there's a crisis in the education system is extremely wrong unless there's a crisis in their minds. And the system has kept on being changed through the NCDC, National Curriculum Development Center, over the years to suit the interests of the learners and the teachers and the public and the whole country. I am not aware about any organizations who have actually formally tabled the issues to the Ministry of Education as a sector.
Last year, government had several confrontations with teachers over poor pay, and some believe it is one of the factors that has greatly affected the quality of education. Irene Namialo, NTV.
Well, it's on this issue that we would like to hear from you on tonight's NTV poll, and we are asking, do you support the threat by teachers to go on strike over the alleged poor quality of education in Uganda? Do you support the threat by teachers to strike over the alleged poor quality of education in the country?
Well, to have your say, text 8778 followed by a yes or no, as well as your name and where you are texting from, and we shall be reading some of your comments during tonight's newscast, as well as bringing you the final poll result for tonight.
NTV Tonight takes a short break right now, but here's some of what you can expect when we return.
We bring you the latest from Bududa,
following last week's landslide.
And on the farm this week, we bring you one farmer's attempt to increase his passion fruit yields. NTV Tonight continues after this short break. Stay tuned.
This is NTV.
Jaweza takusau ya zamani lopitia hii dunia Bagalalina Yendo kole You should think about tomorrow, not only today.
Influenced by the beauty and unique spirit of his home country, Uganda, Maurice Kirya's music is an
Jaweza takusau ya zamani lopitia hii dunia Bagalalina Yendo kole You should think about tomorrow, not only today.
Influenced by the beauty and unique spirit of his home country, Uganda, Maurice Kirya's music is an uncommon blend of soul, afro and R&B, which he prefers to call moyo, which means soul. At the age of 15, Maurice started singing professionally and recorded with popular Uganda gospel, rap and jazz artists. Maurice has performed throughout Africa and was the 2007 Best R&B Artist winner of the Pearl of Africa Music Awards in Uganda. He was also nominated at the Kisima Awards in Kenya and has worked with the legendary Mali musician Musa Dello, Cecile Verni Quartet from Germany, Beniwe from Paris, First Love from Uganda, Pragmo from Uganda, and Kasozi from the UK.
If I ever lose my mind and don't say that I love you, just know that it's true. And if
Kirya has written songs for different jazz musicians, provided background vocals for singer and producer Steve Jean, and recorded the East African anthem with Susanna Wio from Kenya and Pauline Zongo from Tanzania in 2000.
Welcome back. We start with a reminder of our NTV poll question for tonight and some of your responses. We asked, do you support the threat by teachers to go on strike over alleged poor quality of education in Uganda? I'll say that again. Do you support the teachers' threat to go on strike, rather, over alleged poor quality of education in the country?
To have your say, text 8778, then yes or no, and followed by your name and where you are texting from. Let's now take a look at some of your comments so far.
Okay, Cassie Rogers, you say, seriously, it should be teachers to do that. It shouldn't be teachers to do that because it's their duty to improve that education status in Uganda. Instead, parents should be the ones striking because it is their money that goes to waste.
And someone here says they shouldn't strike because teachers should understand that government appreciates their distinguished services and commitment.
Okay, this stands the tentative poll result. 80% of you so far do seem to agree with teachers that they should go on strike over the poor quality of education in the country. 20% of you disagree.
Well, stay tuned as we shall be bringing you more comments on tonight's final poll result at the tail end of tonight's newscast.
Okay, moving on, the Ministry for Disaster Preparedness says it will forcibly relocate residents that refuse to leave landslide-prone areas in Bugisu region.
This as State Minister Musa Ichweru also announced an elaborate plan to end the plight of thousands of people at risk and hundreds who have so far survived that landslide.
Meanwhile, the recovery operation to excavate bodies buried under mounds of earth continues, with the latest being that of a 6-year-old.
The survivor is a husband who has indicated that his wife and 3 kids are still missing. That will bring the total number of those who now have zeroed down as dead to 8.
Many of those who were feared dead after a landslide struck villages in Mbulucheke sub-county in Budunda district last month have been accounted for, and these form part of a group that has been relocated from the dangerous slopes
to low-lying areas, and we are feeding both the hosts and the displaced.
For fear of disease outbreaks, the ministry opted not to put the survivors in camp. The rains too are not relenting up, yet hundreds of more cracks, even more dangerous, have been identified on Mount Elgon, affecting up to 7 districts. With over 400,000 people in the region under risk, Ichweru will have no option but to take action.
Of putting on a bit of pressure on our people to relocate. We are not going to use force, but we're going to put pressure on these communities to relocate to areas that are safe. Immediately they come down, you find they will again sneak that I wanted to go and check on my bananas.
Meanwhile, government is considering 3 other alternatives for people in the landslide-prone area. Among them, purchasing large tracts of land in safe areas of Bugisu, identifying safe land within a sub-county and buying it for the survivors. And the third alternative, which is the last resort, is purchasing large blocks in other parts of the country and relocating the people there.
As Uganda prepares tomorrow to mark the 2nd anniversary of the July 11th terror attacks on Kampala, the government has called for vigilance, warning that Al-Shabaab terrorists could strike at any time. The government says all Ugandans should be on the lookout and report any suspicious activities or persons in their midst. Julius Sekandwa reports.
The night of July 11th, 2010 was meant to end in jubilations on the side of the winners and some sobbing for the losers, as thousands of soccer fans thronged most happening places in Kampala to watch the 2010 World Cup final between Spain and Holland. But this never materialized, as the fun was cut short by triple bomb blasts in the heart of Kampala. Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility of the bombings that killed 76 people, underscoring the increased terrorist threat in East Africa due to the group's demonstrated capacity to conduct bombings outside of Somalia.
It is this monument you are seeing that was planted here 20 days exactly after the bomb blasts at the Chadon Rugby Club that reminds Ugandans of their loved ones who lost their lives in the attack. Since then, up to date, security here is on a high alert.
As you see, all over the place is fenced. We've got 4 gates, but we've got 1 major gate. Everyone has to pass through that gate, and it has to be searched properly.
But compliances amongst Ugandans seem to be taking the nation backwards in terms of security preparation. Most parts of the state visited today showed evidence that there is total breakdown in security consciousness amongst the general public. Some accuse the government of not doing enough in fighting the problem.
Government kale eno kuteka mukale naddala kati ku bintunga ddala mbala kati jantu yasinga okujula ennyo amabale kati oyerenga asobola okuteka obukuumi ennyo obw'amaanyi. Omuntu omu ajja n'ayingira n'akeberebwa n'ate omulala n'atekerebebwa. Kwegamba ekyo kiraga nti ebyokwerinda bya ggwanga si binywevu ddala n'akatono.
It's not an issue of to blame who. They are not actually blame games in this.
Kampala's Regional Police Commander Andrew Kawes says Uganda is still not a safe place.
Because terrorists do not use conventional means. They look for soft targets which they attack and make a statement. So the problem is still on, and I believe as we approach the 11th of July, between now and Wednesday, a lot has to be done.
Security in some areas of the city is still high, especially at hotels, government buildings and parliament, among others. terrorists can however adopt other forms of terror methods such as biological weapons that can be used instead of conventional terror accessories such as guns and bombs.
We are leaving no stone unturned in all this, but I can assure you the vigilance of the people is only, it's the magic blade. It's a magic blade. If we don't have that, we are not safe.
With blame games seeming not to be ending soon between government and the general public, always before you move out of your house, remember one question to yourself: am I safe? Julius Senkandwa, NTV.
And now for a look at more stories making the news across Uganda tonight. NRM members of parliament from eastern Uganda are up in arms with government for denying them social services in the region.
Since we gained independence in 1962, Eastern region is endowed with jiggers. We're not proud of this. And we cannot be in a government which continues to oversee people with jiggers. No, no, no. There are schools which have closed because of jiggers. We cannot continue like this.
In a meeting convened this afternoon, the NRM Vice Chairman for Eastern Region, Mike Mukula, alongside other MPs, rallied support for a presidential successor from Eastern Uganda, who they think will be able to develop the region.
All other regions in this country have had a share of leadership. There's no doubt that Eastern Uganda is positioned very readily this time around, that come next regime, the leader should come from Eastern Uganda.
Probably we've not had an opportunity to express that, but at the right time, when there's vacancy, when that office holds vacant, I think we have not only ready leaders, but we have capable and people who can also steer this country to another level.
Meanwhile, Kampala Lord Mayor Erias Lukwago today addressed the media following yesterday's court ruling that dismissed a case he lodged against KCCA Executive Director Jennifer Musisi. Lukwago expressed dissatisfaction at the judgment, but also added that he will follow court's advice on how to settle the matter.
I am convinced beyond all shades of doubt that the court abdicated its duty of taking a bold decision on these rather thorny issues. I think they were too heavy for court.
Next Monday, a meeting shall be held to discuss the ruling, and Lukwago has stated that he isn't ready to compensate Musisi as the court had ruled.
A special authority meeting shall be held on Monday, 16th July 2012 at the authority chambers at 10 a.m. to decide on all these matters in controversy.
And finally, today was the final day for campaigns in the Bukoto South constituency by-election in Lwengo district. All the candidates were optimistic ahead of Thursday's poll.
I anticipate FDC to take a lead. Very supportive to me, and I'm sure I'm going to win this election.
Ours has been a peaceful campaign. We have been preaching love, peace, and prosperity.
This election comes after the seat fell vacant when ex-member of parliament Muyanja Mbabali was thrown out of the House. According to the Electoral Commission chairperson, Dr. Badri Chigundu, the Commission is prepared to adequately handle the whole electoral process to ensure a free and fair election as well as adequate security.
Now, farming is one good enterprise that has transformed the lives of many Ugandans from the clutches of poverty. However, sustainability of a steady supply of any produce to the market has always proved a challenge to farmers because of the effects of climate change. In our feature on the farm, we take you to Serere district, where one medical surgeon is beating the odds by investing heavily in drip irrigation technology to grow passion fruits.
Growing passion fruits started from a simple idea of digging a pit latrine, which later indicated that the source of water was within reach.
It was initially dug as a pit latrine, then it became a community.
This inspired the family of Dr. Joseph Epodoi to engage in high-tech irrigation method. And because of the education background in agriculture of Joseph's father, they decided to use his technical expertise. Lucky for them, nearby was Serere Research Institute, which would help turn their dream into reality.
Wait a minute. Yes.
They brought the experts to test the viability of the water and soils for fruit growing. The samples indicated a high rate of success, giving them a go-ahead with the project.
This place is 1,050 meters above sea level. We have all that information. Then we had to get soil scientists to test the soil. The pH in this place is very conducive for the growing of passion fruits.
Immediately, they had to come up with a name for their project to confirm its existence. Green Brothers Farm was chosen because of the historical attachment to the family's struggle.
During the times of insurgency, we were taking refuge with all my children in a mission there in Kirya. So we cultivated there green vegetables. Okay? Now, out of the green vegetables, they bought for me a bicycle. A roadmaster, which is there up to now. We wrote there Green Brothers because they were working on the green vegetables.
They took us around to see the project. From this pit, they draw the water using the simple technology of a pump to this house. They use a generator to pump the water to the plastic tanks mounted on top of this stand.
To fill the tank of 3,000 liters, we need about 2 liters of petrol.
Leave this one.
The entire garden is fitted with irrigation pipes to water the plants. This is where a lot of money was injected to set up the system.
Don't think about the plants, they are the cheapest. The most expensive thing are the plumbing lines. They will take about 45% of the total cost of the project.
Water is then pumped to the field at certain intervals to give a lease of life to the plants. This helps the creepers to produce fruits throughout the year. It's rare in Uganda to find a farmer who can harvest passion fruits throughout the year. But here at Green Brothers Farm in Serere district, the farmers have tried to harness technology with the environment to produce these passion fruits. Another unique thing at the Green Brothers Farm is that they do not pluck the fruits from the creepers before they fall down.
When we go to the market there and we see some other fruits which come from some other places, you find that we open and you find it's white. That means immature. It was just post. It is like defiling the fruit.
After picking them, they are taken to the market. But even though he gathers a number of basins every day, he cannot satisfy the overwhelming demand from the customers.
Our market is basically the local market. We are testing it. The returns are so good. We don't have enough. Everybody's asking. In fact, we are creating problems for ourselves.
The benefits which accrue from the produce are immense.
In a week, we are getting slightly more than 200 kilos. And that's about 600,000 shillings a week. That's what we are getting here, gross. In a month, you can see 4 times that, more than 2 million.
But even with this good technology, they feel they have not yet achieved a lot.
According to modern technology, this wire should have Hessian cloth. You know Hessian cloth?
It's insulated.
Yeah, robota. When it shines, the heat does not affect. The heat does not affect the plant so much and the fruits.
However, they advise the smallholder farmers to begin with simple methods of irrigation which will increase the number of outgrowers, thereby sustaining the supply to the growing market. Hilara Yesiga, NTV.
Thank you very much, Hilary Yesiga. Well, it's time for NTV Business with Malcolm Musime. Malcolm, I see here some of your stories. The fuel crisis currently being experienced in Kampala.
Yeah, sure. Retail prices dropping from 3,550 to 4,000. That's not a bad sign.
To 4,000.
Yeah, going up. That's not a bad sign, really.
It is not a good sign, actually.
Yeah.
And you pull up to a station and there is no gas at all.
Exactly. But also we'll be bringing you details on how Mauritius is turning into an economic giant. So that and more will be coming up in NTV Business Night. Just don't go away after the break.
Have you informed the police? I think the police is informed where it is necessary. If the teachers want protection to take the document to Parliament, that one they will be informed. But if a teacher is staying at home because he's mourning, I don't know whether mourners always inform police that we are here and we are mourning.
This is NTV. This is NTV.
Good evening, Malcolm Sim, and warm welcome to NTV Business Night. Now we begin in what is seen as a bad sign because fuel prices are shooting up. Why? Because retail prices also at the pumps, players say high tax threshold and dumping is affecting them. Rajin Taylor, the chairman of the Fuel Station Owners Association, adds that the supply levels may not expand anytime soon as most of their members are indeed shutting down. Since the weekend, retail prices for petrol in the particular move from an average 3,550 per litre to nearly 4,000 this afternoon, with a number of stations running out of stock.
Fuel service stations, particularly within the city, are running low on stock, with pump price for those with supply hitting nearly 4,000 shillings per litre this evening. But the Association of Fuel Station Owners, through Rajin Taylor, their chairman, are saying a heavy tax burden that leaves them with thin margins is the source of the limited stock up.
If the bonded warehouse facility is not being allowed, that you keep your fuel in the bond facilities and it can be released when it is to be consumed. But because of the policy of collecting the revenue at source, it is becoming a problem for any petroleum dealer to import the fuel and keep in the bonded warehouse paying at the source.
They are also complaining that for over a year, government has failed to rein in on small single pump outfits within the city suburbs and along highways that retail fuel at almost 200 shillings per litre, less established stations that are now shouldering what they call the exorbitant tax.
Every now and then you find there is a fuel shortage. Now, with that fuel shortage, what is happening is that people are taking advantage of it. You may come to any station and say there is no fuel, but then you find a Magendo fuel is available, which there is no control. I do not know where the fuel is being imported from. So we are being hit from every corner.
Engen, a South African chain of service station, has now withdrawn from the Ugandan market, saying it failed to break even owing to the unregulated and price-shaky local industry. Raina Ojan, NTV Business.
Now, more than 30 Ugandan businessmen left for Mauritius at the invitation of the Mauritian government, which is on an African onslaught to search for markets for its products. But how can an island of less than 1.5 million people take such a position in Africa, and what sort of opportunities are held by this small island nation for Uganda? Samuel Setumba was in Mauritius and now reports.
Perhaps this is what you think and know of Mauritius. And yes, some Ugandans got a sample of the same thought. And yes, this is still Mauritius. But more than 30 Ugandans were out there to do business at the invitation of the Mauritian government.
It's a mission critical action. Either we do it or we die.
This small, very productive island has sold it to a market of only 1.3 million people that without exports, they have no economy.
So we are compelled to be productive. We are compelled to be innovative. The workers understand that they have to be disciplined. The workers understand that they cannot go on strikes.
We have political stability. We have the rule of law. We have very strong institutions, which leads to having a very good credibility, and which also, of course, implies rating by international agencies.
The doing business environment, the Mauritians claim, is absolutely predictable.
If a permit is to be delivered within 3 days, and if the agency is unable to deliver the permit within 3 days, the application made becomes an automatic license. So the person can go and start operating without a license. So this silent principle, or deemed approved, makes the whole difference.
The Mauritians invited African businessmen from more than 20 countries, and supply and delivery deals were struck.
I want to assure you one thing. The products here are much better quality than the products from China. They are able to handle smaller orders. When you go to China, they will tell you the minimum is 2,000 pieces per design, per color.
Mauritius is a member of COMESA, and importing from here, of course, would make us enjoy the COMESA advantages, which we would not enjoy if I was to import, say, from, say, China or India.
All roads in this country are tarmacked, and there are no potholes. One thing to note, though, is that while the Mauritians invited Ugandans to export food there, no Ugandan has shown interest in this opportunity. Point to note, this country, Mauritius, can to start with benefit from Uganda's abundant fruits and other food varieties, provided Ugandans do their homework. This nation of only 1.3 million people, with a $10 billion GDP, has its eyes on Africa. Gathered here were 20 African countries to be export destinations. They have got their house in order, and now are an emerging export African powerhouse. Samuel Setumba, NTV, in Port Louis, Mauritius.
Thank you, Sam, and welcome back. The shilling remains stable as several counters on the securities market experience only small price movements. Details of the money and shares market coming up in our financial market report.
Financial Report is brought to you by URA, developing Uganda together.
All vehicles are required to revalidate their registration using our new online module and get a new logbook. All newly imported vehicles will also be registered online using this new online module. Get out of the line and get online.
And that was the last of what we had for you on NTV Business tonight. Thank you very much for watching. Good night. Let me take you back to Gabriel and Faith.
Thank you, Malcolm.
Now, Joel Kamadi joins us with sport. Joel, what do you have for us today?
Thank you very much. Now, Nasa Mutebi hopes to ride on the advantage of driving a brand new car in this year's Pearl of Africa Rally Championship to beat his competitors in the event. All this and more coming up in NTV Sport.
This is NTV.
Bakuma muliro nenzikiza omuliro bayimba ebitaliyo ninyimba ebiriyo bwekubakuba munene nse munene asingayo.
Jose Chameleon, whose real names are Joseph Mayanja, is one of Uganda's all-time major artists. His music is enjoyed by people of all ages. People who don't understand the meaning of the words in his songs tend to know most, if not all, of the lyrics. Chameleon went to Nakasero Primary School in Kampala and then headed on to Kawempe Muslim School for his O-level and later finished at Progressive Secondary School. He started his road to fame while in Kawempe. It all started when he entered a Write the School Anthem competition, which he immediately won. Chameleon's talent was then recognized and he soon started singing and performing in small local clubs as an MC. He regularly sang some of his own songs, but they were never properly recognized because they were not recorded yet. Because Chameleon was a good MC, he proceeded to Burundi where he was on high demand. He then decided to come back to his home country, Uganda, so he could follow up on his dream and start his career as a musician.
I know you want me. You look Chameleon, not disarm me. With him again, can never desert me. From Asmala to Kampala.
Good evening and welcome to NTV Sport. I'm Joel Kamadi. Now, former national rally champion Nasa Mutebi hopes to ride on the advantage of driving a brand new car in this year's Pearl of Africa Rally Championship to beat his competitors in the event starting this Friday. Now, as Samposa reports, Mutebi is part of the 21 drivers in the event, expected to start with a special super stage at Lubiri Circuit this Friday.
Nasa Mutebi, who recently acquired a new Subaru Impreza N10, will be one of the drivers to watch out for when this year's Shell Pearl of Africa Rally flags off. The event that starts with a circuit at Lubiri on Friday is Mutebi's chance to make a comeback if he is to remain in contention for this year's National Rally Championship.
I'm focused on the National Rally Championship. I'm already a national champion, but I still want to become one once again. But then I also want to be a winner of the Shell Pearl of Africa.
Mutebi hopes to bank on the 3 years experience he has acquired since he started racing.
I have acquired the skills that it takes to win the championship. I no longer fear the foreign competition, the likes of Mohamed Essa, Giancarlo Davite, Fitidis, and the likes of the defending champions like Ponciano Rakataka, the leader of CRC, John Consta. I don't fear anyone, and I think I'm so brave to do this. Before, I used to be nervous.
21 crews have confirmed participation in this year's championship. Sam Poza, NTV Sport.
Now, Uganda Cricket Association today announced their partnership with Meta Group of companies who came on board to sponsor the men's and women's national teams and also the women's national T20 league. The total sponsorship package is valued at 200 million shillings.
Bringing cricket into one of the sports you're sponsoring is an important landmark in the history of the game and it brings us back to where cricket to an extent started, because we see a cricket field right by the road that had been taken up by football, but we happen to know that now cricket will come back where it belonged before. We are looking forward to the offer made by the Meta Group and KKR to sponsor our national team for a training camp this year, which will boost our preparations for the forthcoming World League competition in Bermuda in April 2014.
Now, 8 teams from the 8 FUFA regions will converge at Njeru Technical Center at the beginning of next month to compete in the national final of the 2nd edition for the Airtel Rising Stars soccer competitions. This follows the conclusion of the regional tournaments in which the best youngsters were selected to their selected from the regional teams.
Airtel Rising Stars.
From 4th to 5th August, the newly built Njeru Technical Center will host the national final for the Airtel Rising Stars Soccer Championship that pits the best talented under-17 footballers in the country. The tournament, organized by Airtel in conjunction with the Federation of Uganda Football Associations FUFA, is aimed at promoting grassroots football in the country.
We had to go down to the grassroots and, touch the lives of these young people, give them a platform, to showcase their talent. In the long run, what we found out is that there was extremely lots of soccer talent out there amongst the boys and girls of under-17.
Participants in this year's final stand a chance to make the national under-17 team that will compete with 17 other national teams in Africa.
FUFA and Airtel are going to continue developing this team. So we shall have a full team here, which has already been selected as one of the best teams, and also be trained.
8 teams from different regions qualified to play in the national final. Sam Poza, NTV Sport.
Airtel Rising Stars, one of Africa's greatest football tournaments, has returned. If you're out there, we'll find you.
And that winds up NTV Sport. Back to you, Faith and Gabriel.
Thank you, Joel.
Thank you, Joel Kamadi. Let's now have a look at Wednesday's weather prospects. Okay, let's now take you back to tonight's NTV poll, and we asked you, do you support the threat by teachers to go on strike over alleged poor quality of education in Uganda? Let's now give you some of your responses. Some you say that is government's forgotten profession. They should do whatever it is in their means to bring their plight to light.
And Jen Mafabi from Bale says, yes, they should go ahead because it's their freedom and they have a right to express their feelings as humans.
Okay, there stands the final poll result. 80% of our respondents tonight are saying yes. Teachers, rather 70% of you are saying yes, teachers should go on strike. 30% of our respondents disagree. Thank you so much for all of your responses to tonight's poll. We shall be back tomorrow with yet another one, and we look forward to your contribution then as well.
Well, we thank you so much for watching. I am Faith Ariho.
And I'm Gabriel Lepeno. Have yourselves a good night. Bye-bye.
Umuliro nezikiza umuliro bayimba ebitaliyo ninyimba ebiriyo
Jose Chameleon, whose real names are Joseph Mayanja, is one of Uganda's all-time major artists. His music is enjoyed by people of all ages. People who don't understand the meaning of the words in his songs tend to know most, if not all, of the lyrics. Chameleon went to Nakasero Primary School in Kampala and then headed on to Kawempe Muslim School for his O-level and later finished at Progressive Secondary School. He started his road to fame while in Kawempe. It all started when he entered a Write the School Anthem competition, which he immediately won. Chameleon's talent was then recognized and he soon started singing and performing in small local clubs as an MC. He regularly sang some of his own songs, but they were never properly recognized because they were not recorded yet. Because Chameleon was a good MC, he proceeded to Burundi where he was on high demand. He then decided to come back to his home country, Uganda, so he could follow up on his dream and start his career as a musician.
I know you want me. You look a million, not disarm me. With him again, y'all never desert me. From Asmala to Kampala, never forget me.
Upon arrival in Uganda, Chameleon started working with Shanks VVD. They recorded a song together called Forgive and Forget. Shanks VVD later left for Rwanda and Chameleon was left alone to decide his fate. He decided to seek bigger studios in Nairobi with the famous Ogopa DJs. While in Nairobi, he linked up with Bebe Cool and Wedson and came up with Mikono Juu, which became a #1 hit single on East Africa FM. He later wrote Bagaya and recorded it with Wedson. This is the song that made Chameleon big in Nairobi. It became #1 and was played on all radio stations and in all discos and nightclubs. Jose Chameleon has had a number of concerts in Africa and around the world. In 2005, he performed at several shows in Denmark in support of fair global trade, where he then decided to appear at an extra concert in Etnoma, Copenhagen.
Chameleon, shining like a morning star. Shine like a moving star.
He has released over 5 albums, won a Pearl of Africa award for Artist of the Year, and is still one of East Africa's biggest artists. Jose Chameleon turns a concert into a fun and successful evening, leaving the crowd with happy faces from the moment he arrives on stage to the time he leaves. And he made an honest woman out of the love of his life, Daniela Atim, when he wed her in style.